He was the Yang clan's favorite punchline. Bullied, humiliated, and possessing the cultivation talent of a potato. But when death came knocking, he didn't answer. He kicked the door down and walked back into the living world. He's returned with a software update, stronger, sharper, and absolutely done with everyone's nonsense. The same elders who treated him like dirt are about to realize they've been courting death this whole time. He's not just settling scores, he's handing out legendary beatdowns and emotional damage in equal measure. The King of Trash is back to claim his throne, and he looks damn good doing it. Under a glittering night sky, a lively city pulses with nightlife before attention shifts to a crowded restaurant where a massive man eats with frightening excess. Towers of dishes stacked before him as tears stream down his face. The crowd murmurs uneasily, some wondering if he will collapse from overeating, others baffled by his grief. Through hushed conversation, it is revealed that this glutton is Hwaran of the Sky Ocean Merchant Union, the grand merchant who achieved the impossible by uniting all merchant unions in Henan. Yeonhwa, the woman beside Hwaran, scolds him for destroying his body and tries to pull him away, but Hwaran admits that if he stops eating, the memories of a dreadful day will return, leaving her hurt yet unable to force him. Later that night in a carriage, Hwaran removes his ornate jewelry and stares at his reflection, admitting aloud that wealth and riches are hollow and powerless to heal the wounds of losing loved ones. He acknowledges that his reckless indulgence is merely a mask, yet the nightmares never stop. Sitting beside him, Yanhwa's concern is clear. Wiley remarks that despite how many years have passed since he made the Sky Ocean Merchant Union his home, she still calls him young master. She replies gently that to her, he will always be the young master of the Tianzhong clan, prompting him to notice the faint wrinkles on her face and realize how much time has passed. Hwaran reflects on how Yanhwa followed him even after he abandoned the Tianzhong clan and married elsewhere, recognizing that she is not merely a servant but family, and that without her, he believes he would not be alive. Touching the scar on his forehead, he confesses that everything collapsed the day the Tianzhong clan ended. Memories resurface of his resentment toward his father, despite being the eldest son of a powerful martial clan, and how he turned his back completely, even allowing himself to be sold in an arranged marriage to the Sky Ocean Merchant Union. He recalls cruelly commissioning a statue of himself, and instructing a young Yeonhwa to guide his father there if he ever came looking for him. Years later, tragedy struck when the Tianzhong clan was attacked by a sect, and Hwaran watched helplessly as flames consumed his home. In that moment, he realized too late that despite his hatred, he'd loved his father deeply. Overcome with anguish, he smashed his head against the statue, screaming until Yeonhwa rushed to stop him and he collapsed to his knees. Together, they spent the night watching the clan burn, the destruction searing itself into his soul. In the present, as the carriage travels through the night, Hwaran tells Yeonhwa he has decided to change to reconcile with his wife, abandon his recklessness, and take care of the family he still has, though he worries she may be cold toward him. He laughs lightly, calling Yeonhwa family, and she smiles warmly, promising to continue serving him. Suddenly, a projectile rips through the carriage, striking Yeonhwa and sending her flying as the carriage overturns violently. Nearby, an old man crashes into a tree, coughing blood and muttering that his organs are ruined as masked figures surround him. Revealing himself as a demonic master betrayed by his own, he blocks a blade with his hand and unleashes a red aura, scattering attackers while cursing Blood Demon Castle. Back at the wreckage, Hwaran regains consciousness, sees Yeonhwa lying lifeless, and screams in grief. The demonic master staggers toward Hwaran, desperate for a new body before his heart gives out, and prepares a spirit possession technique. Hwaran confronts him in rage, accusing him of dragging innocent people into his battle and causing the death of someone precious. The old man paralyzes him by striking pressure points and admits that while he wanted a better vessel, he has no choice. Channeling 160 years of martial essence and chi into Hwaran's body, he completes the ritual as his own body collapses. Hwaran rises, pushing the corpse aside, realizing that possession succeeded, but a splitting headache follows as the demonic master's voice echoes in his mind, furious that Hwaran's soul refuses to yield. Declaring he must survive to avenge his clan, Hwaran resists as his spirit begins to deteriorate. A masked attacker appears, slashing his throat and causing blood to spray as a red aura erupts. The ritual left incomplete. Hwaran awakens in an apothecary, disoriented and shocked to find his body slim and youthful, and Yeonhwa alive and young before him. Realizing this is no dream, he rushes outside and finds his statue intact. Learning it was placed there only 5 days ago, he smashes it with his head until it shatters, blood streaming as realization dawns. Standing among the rubble, Hwaran understands he has returned 3 years before the fall of the Tianzhong clan, and vows with unwavering resolve to protect his people and prevent their destruction. Long ago, several households took the mountain's name, but it was the Yang clan that united them all, earning the title of the Tianzhong clan. In its prime, the clan's name was synonymous with strength and prestige, drawing admiration from across the region. Over time, however, that glory faded, leaving the clan a hollow echo of its former self, respected only in memory rather than in the present. The scene moves to the present, where Biyang, the clan head, sighs deeply as he sets down his teacup. He laments that 30 years have passed without a single new expert martial artist emerging since the elder Gosang, once revered as the supreme dragon of Hunnan. Speaking to his wife, he admits the pain of watching the clan's legacy wither away. Though she reassures him that recovery is still possible, Biyang shakes his head, confessing that his relationship with his son has only worsened. He blames himself for remarrying too soon after his first wife's death, believing it left his son feeling abandoned. He recalls visiting Warren 5 days earlier, only to be coldly told to treat a statue in the garden as if it were his son. As he apologizes for venting, Yanhua suddenly rushes in, frantic and sobbing, announcing that Warren has injured himself and is now unconscious, leaving Biyang and his wife stunned. The narrative shifts to Warren, drenched in sweat and trapped in a vivid dream. He sits beneath a waterfall watching koi fish swim while his mother smiles beside him. As a child, he excitedly calls out that he has caught a big one, but when he turns, she is slumped lifelessly on the rocks. The memory shifts again to her lying pale in bed, apologizing for not being able to take him to the waterfall anymore while comforting him as he cries. The dream suddenly twists into a nightmare when a demonic master seizes Warren's head, mocking his tears and calling him weak before declaring he will take his head as a prize. Terrified, Warren screams and jolts awake in his childhood bedroom, realizing with shock that he is truly returned to the past. Overwhelmed, Warren reflects on his hatred toward his father, his isolation from his family, and the chain of tragedies that followed, beginning with Biyang's murder and ending in the Tianzhong clan's collapse. Regret pierces him as he wonders whether his knowledge of the future might allow him to change their fate. His thoughts are abruptly interrupted by a surge of intense heat within his abdomen. He realizes in alarm that the old man's energy has awakened, flooding him with uncontrollable yang energy. Outside his room, 2 women gossip, mocking the claim that Warren destroyed a statue by headbutting it and dismissing him as weak and untrained, while another insists she witnessed it herself and suspects possession. Their whispers end when the door slams open and Warren emerges trembling and radiating heat. Panicked, he bolts toward the forest, muttering that he must suppress the energy before it ruins him. In desperation, he plunges into the freezing waters of the waterfall, steam rising as the cold tempers the burning surge. As he steadies himself, he hears his name and looks up to see Biyang rushing toward him. Biyang leaps into the water and clutches Warren tightly, tears streaming as he begs him not to throw his life away on such a cold day. Seeing his father alive overwhelms Warren, and though he restrains himself to avoid suspicion, he cannot stop himself from embracing him. Tears falling as gratitude and relief flood his heart. In that moment, he silently vows never to lose his family again. 3 months pass and Warren's relationship with his family slowly begins to mend. He goes fishing with his younger half-brother Kijong, whom he barely acknowledged in his previous life. As Kijong proudly boasts about his fuller basket, Warren reflects on how he once ignored his brother's suffering from chi blockage caused by improper training. In the past, the condition left Kijong bedridden and hastened the clan's decline, while Warren remained indifferent due to his obligations as a son-in-law to the Sky Ocean Merchant Union. When Kijong hesitantly asks if it is truly safe to stop taking his medicines, Warren jokes that they would only make him fat, making Kijong laugh and admit he likes this new version of his brother. Warren continues to prepare his body relentlessly, meditating beneath the waterfall each day to stabilize the old man's energy. One morning, his younger half-sister Salin approaches him with a towel, warmly expressing that she feels they are finally growing closer. Guilt strikes Warren as he recalls how cruelly he once treated her, rejecting her kindness and invitations until the day she was murdered on her way to a festival, an event that led to Biyang's assassination as well. Remembering this, Warren asks if today is the Moon Festival, and when Selin confirms it excitedly, he promises to go with her. As her joy shines through, Warren silently resolves to protect his family at any cost. Later that day, Warren steps into the estate courtyard for training, a far cry from the fragile boy who once cowered behind walls, swallowed bitter medicines, and avoided sunlight like a plague. Every movement now carries the weight of hard-earned transformation, each breath a drumbeat of progress. The ominous energy of the old man's spirit, once a shadowy terror haunting his nights, now pulses through him, forcing muscles to strain beyond remembered limits. His strikes slice sharper, stances hold firmer, and his will refuses compromise. From the edge of the training ground, Biyang watches, eyes wide with awe and pride, tears threatening as he calls out praise, voice cracking with emotion. Warren tries to shrug it off, awkward under his father's gaze. But Yang laughs, warm and booming, teasing the idea of hiring a martial arts instructor. Warren already knows who he wants. The moment shifts with Solon bursting into the courtyard, laughter ringing, spinning into his arms with new clothes fluttering. She spins, twirls, and asks for his opinion, bright-eyed and impatient. Shy but honest, he tells her she looks lovely. The smile she returns punches him harder than any training, and in that instant, he realizes brute strength alone will never protect those he loves. True skill is required. Resolute, he sets out to find Mo, the dragonflower sword whispered across the land for unmatched martial precision. In the courtyard, she moves like wind, over water, each step fluid and exacting, her presence commanding the space. Summoning every ounce of courage, Warren bows low and asks to become her disciple. Surprise flickers across her face before it hardens to skepticism. She refuses, her mind fixed on the stagnation of the Tanjiang clan's secret arts rather than an eager boy before her. Warren does not flinch. As she turns to leave, he drops to his knees, the sudden motion halting her mid-step. Insisting that her path is far from inconsequential, he lays bare knowledge only he could possess the critical role she will play against the descent, her inevitable rise as dragon blood flower, and the shadow of death looming over her if he fails. His vow, raw and unflinching, to defy fate and the clan's decline, strikes her. And slowly, a flicker of acknowledgement softens her stance. She agrees to a single condition: land a hit on her without relying on chi or clan techniques. The spar ignites. Warren's determination blazes, but Mo's movements are fluid, lethal, and disarming, sending him sprawling into dirt repeatedly. Pain blooms. Pride burns, yet surrender is unthinkable. His grip on his sword is iron, his heart even firmer. That stubborn resolve earns her respect, quiet but undeniable, her gaze lingering despite herself. Then, a dark red aura erupts from him, violent and unrestrained, clawing skyward. Alarm flares in Bianca as she warns him, but he moves faster than thought, faster than eye can track. She strikes to intercept, but he surges, colliding his sword against hers and drives her body into the courtyard wall with unrelenting force. Cornered and furious, she unleashes the first form of the soaring dragon emperor sword, a tempest of precision aimed to overwhelm, but Warren halts, his blade hovering before striking her face. Breath ragged, sweat and dirt smeared across his skin, he smiles wearily, whispers that he has touched her, calls her master, and collapses. Silence descends. Mo, stunned, drifts to the wall behind her, carved and scarred by his blow, every exhale betraying shock at the raw power she has just witnessed. After a few moments at the same courtyard, Warren swings his sword with precision, each arc humming with latent energy, each step a calculated beat of progress. He leaps, twisting in midair with a grace that mirrors the memory of a demonstration once shown, landing as if the ground itself were an extension of his body, leaving Mo, watching him, wonder if such raw, innate talent could really emerge from someone so recently frail. In mere days, he conquers the soaring dragon emperor and Azura bamboo sword forms, movements flowing with lethal elegance and undeniable force. She can hardly believe the speed of his mastery, recalling how he once seemed utterly void of martial aptitude, bedridden and pale, barely able to lift a hand. Warren chuckled at her disbelief, brushing aside fatigue with the easy confidence of one who knows he is only scratching the surface of his potential, yet already commanding both sword styles with frightening ease. Suspicion lingers in her gaze, not just from his rapid recovery but from the echo of a red aura she can't quite forget. When she probes about the mysterious red key, Warren sighs theatrically, expecting the question, tapping a swollen bump on his head and claiming memory loss from the repeated blows she had delivered. He teases that only she would strike the clan's eldest son so mercilessly, and though she feels the duty of a Tanjiang clan member to monitor him, she lets it slide, unsettled by both pride and wariness. He smirks, calling such devotion a little terrifying, a comment met with a faint glare and silent acknowledgement. That night alone, Warren feels an unsettling undercurrent as he trains, sensing that the Tanjiang clan's martial arts harbor an inevitable flaw, a missing piece hidden within their demonic origins. He recalls the founder, a wandering martial artist who had studied 2 demonic arts from the hidden saint cult, later reshaping them into the clan's prized sword techniques. Formidable yet imperfect, they never fully aligned with orthodox cultivation, leaving the clan perpetually short of true power. The secret, long buried, resurfaced over time, dragging the clan into decline. Clenching his fists, Warren resolves that he alone holds the key to completing these broken arts, visions of the future guiding each thought, each swing. Soon after, he informs his father and stepmother of his desire to visit the clan, framing it as a recovery journey through martial training, subtly tying it to the arranged marriage awaiting him. His father notes the swift march of time, revealing the girl's name, Jaegal Chongyoung, which Warren confirms without hesitation. A smile crosses his father's face, recalling his friendship with her father Yuge and praising Chongyoung's beauty while questioning the timing of his departure. His stepmother cautions him, mindful of his fragile recovery, but Warren counters that growth comes from experience, just as his father had done, and she reluctantly advises him to take a capable bodyguard for the month-long journey. At that precise moment, Byung bursts in, fiery and indignant, yet Warren greets her warmly, noting the two men with her. They seize her arms with effortless strength, subtly flaunting it, while commenting on Warren's improved physique and confirming their role to protect him, recognizing the promise of his further growth. Introduced as brothers Youngwook and Namwook, rising ghost blades of formidable repute, they are acknowledged with a nod and quiet approval from Warren, who declares he will chart their path, demanding absolute obedience. Youngwook studies him, a faint smile betraying his cautious agreement. Without delay, Warren signals departure, and So Holland, wiping tears, pleads softly, questioning if he must leave. He reassures her with a promise to visit during the Senful festival, sincerity heavy in his words, while his father and stepmother watch with prideful relief. Entrusting Kijung with the family's safety, Warren steps back, declaring readiness, his departure punctuated by familial bows. Just as they move, a familiar voice slices through the morning air. Yanoa, sprinting toward him, rekindling memories of past pleas to accompany him. Warren hesitates, Jungwook warning of danger, yet he holds her close, gratitude and regret mingling in a tight embrace, explaining the perilous road ahead and the impossibility of risking her life, leaving tearful Yanoa to stay with the family. As the journey begins, Warren murmurs a quiet apology to his father, admitting the visit to the Jaegal clan as a pretext. The true destination is near Wudong, where the secret to perfecting the Tianzhong martial arts awaits, is his actual destination in this journey. Warren looks up at the sky and suddenly finds himself submerged in an endless silent sea, each step sending ripples across the strange surface as his voice trembles in awe at the vastness, muttering to himself like a man lost in a dream. A subtle current brushes against him from behind, and he turns to see a drifting signboard, the Tianzhong clan's board swaying as if alive, and the moment he grasps it, the world convulses violently. In an instant, the sea ignites into raging fire, the Tianzhong clan house rising before him only to collapse in ash under the inferno, and grief seizes his chest as he stumbles through the blaze, screaming into the burning void. From the inferno, the demonic master materializes, spectral and wrathful, calling him a fool and condemning him for wasting the greatest opportunity with childish pursuits. Warren demands how the master is present, but the old man waves him off, demanding he surrender his body, and just as despair threatens to consume him, a sword cleaves the thoughts, yanking Warren back to reality. Before him stands Byung, sharp gaze piercing, questioning his daydreaming, and before he can gather himself, she strikes, knocking his sword away and pressing her blade to his neck. Breathless, he whispers surrender, and concern softens her eyes at his faltering focus, though he insists it is only restless nights. Youngwook calls out, suggesting Hwarin train with them, and the scene shifts to the brothers performing squats and heavy benching, boasting of the strength each exercise builds, while Hwarin nervously excuses himself, citing pressing matters regarding their journey. On the wagon, he explains his desire to detour to Mount Seven Sages before reaching the Jaegal clan, seeking wild ginseng and the legendary monkey wine, and the brothers' excitement erupts, pledging support, while Byung warns of the demonic sect nearby and potential conflict with the orthodox sect. Warren calmly argues that they can claim another name if captured, valuing survival above pride, and Youngwook supports him, though his excitement betrays the lure of monkey wine. Warren admits he also wishes to bring something back for his parents, touching Byung, who agrees, and he thanks them, urging preparations. Later, in an inn, Warren inwardly admits the monkey wine story was a lie. His true goal is the demonic poison stone flower, born from a lake of venom pooled by poisonous insects and infused with demonic energy, yet his plan falters when he overhears demonic sects converging on the mountain. Byung notes the danger, but Warren insists he will avoid conflict, focusing instead on defeating Goshok of the Serpent Dragon sect, who seeks the flower to advance his martial arts, and resolute, he drains his drink, declaring the journey to Mount Seven Sages unchanged. Byung warns again of demonic sects, but he calmly asserts the mountain's strategic value, and warns that retreat will be necessary if outmatched. They find the brothers unconscious from drink, and Warren promises caution, earning Byung's reluctant consent, suspicion lingering. Warren remarks that Mount Seven Sages is perilous, yet victory favors the last to laugh, recalling how he instructed them to investigate inns run by the Serpent Dragon sect, particularly those with few customers but many horses, and only their current inn fits the criteria. Time passes and a crowd gathers below. Youngwook explains the young master of the Serpent Dragon sect is present. It is Goshok. Shock seizes Warren, realizing Goshok should be at the mountain, and a whisper from a man ignites his fury, prompting him to order the 8 swords and 8 slashers summoned. Jungkook gasps at the mobilization, but Hwoarang sees opportunity, instructing preparation to follow Goshok. Ba-young protests, horrified at his pursuit of the demonic sect, but he asserts that Jeonyu nears upheaval and power is a tool to survive and protect family. He commands obedience as the Taeyeonjong heir, shaking Byung, while Jungwook laughs, pledging loyalty alongside his brother. Ba-young relents, warning solemnly of Jongwoo's dangers, and Hwoarang meets her gaze with quiet intensity, assuring her he understands the weight of Jongwoo better than anyone. Warren and the group slip out of town, shadows among shadows, trailing the Serpent Dragon sect members with the precision of hunters. He counts silently, noting more of them than expected, a ripple of tension running through him as the sect forms a calculated formation. Ba-young begins to explain. Warren cuts her off, eyes narrowing as he observes Goshok and his men weaving an inescapable net. Jungwook's worry flickers. Time is thin, but Hwoarang's voice is calm, reminding him the main force hasn't moved yet, waiting for whoever holds the miracle medicine to make the first misstep. Patience becomes their weapon. From a distance, shouting erupts, and a few moments later, the group seizes the chance to edge closer to the river, wherein reasoning that anyone with the medicine would seek water over woods for a swifter escape. The eerie silence of the river eventually blankets them, and Warren orders absolute quiet. Then, chaos bursts. A bloodied man stumbles into the river, screaming for help, only to be crushed like an insect by a massive purple hand. A dense, oppressive aura spreads as an old man emerges, the sought-after flower clutched in his hand. Byung whispers, questioning if this is the flying demon bloodline. Hwoarang senses the malign energy radiating off him and asks if she knows the figure. Jungwook, eyes wide, confirms the bloodline is one of the top 100 demonic martial experts, even if unknown personally. Warren's gaze fixes on the flower, calculating that it's only a matter of time before the Serpent Dragon sect makes its move, and the group silently retreats. Goshok appears next, having slain elite sect members along the way, admitting he underestimated the bloodline, who laughs, dismissing the attempt to corner him and noting that if not for the Tang clan's interference, the sect would have been annihilated. Goshok presents a strange box, revealing the 1,000-needle dart. The bloodline's eyes flare, demanding how Goshok acquired it, and Goshok's smug details the expense and the surrounding sect members now aiming darts at him. In an instant, the bloodlion's aura flares, purple and violent, as he forms massive hands to deflect the volley, releasing an even greater aura while rising into the air. Goshok, stunned, orders the second squad to fire, but the needles explode prematurely, sending him crashing into the water as the group surrounds him. He calls for the 8 swords to attack the bloodlion and seize the flower. The battle erupts into a brutal symphony of violence. The bloodline dismantles opponents effortlessly, mocking one overconfident fighter before moving to the next. Ba-young watches, horror etched on her face, confessing she has never witnessed such carnage, and asks Hwoarang how he remains composed. Sect members shout that the bloodline is down, riddled with arrows and blades, collapsing into the river for what seems like a final breath. Goshok orders a search for the medicine, but it is gone. Hwoarang calmly explains his deduction. The bloodline likely sent the flower down the river using martial arts, hidden by the earlier water barrier. The group tracks the river, hearing shouting in the distance, until a flicker of purple aura reveals the prize. Warren retrieves the flower, handing it to Jungwook, while pouring poison from a vial onto a fake flower to mislead any pursuers. Jungwook laughs, impressed at the ease of acquisition while others fought and died, and Warren shrugs, a wry grin crossing his face, saying luck played its part and it's time to leave. Suddenly, the box is ripped from their hands as a man lands beside them. The group freezes. The man grins, claiming the flower as his own. Shock ripples through the remaining 3 as they recognize the flying demonic bloodlion. Before Wern can react, a punch like a battering ram strikes him, hurling him into the forest and leaving a deep crack in the earth behind. Silence grips the others, voices trembling in fear pressing down like a physical weight. The old man radiates a suffocating purple aura, accusing them of theft, before biting into the flower, his expression darkening, aura intensifying and declaring he will tear every human present of heart to replenish his chi, a storm of energy bursting outward as the flower's power floods him. Mo freezes, body stiff, trembling hand gripping her sword. Memories of the old man's massacres clawing at her mind, fear threatening to swallow her whole. The young men beside her pull her back from panic. Two step forward, Jungwook and Namwook, introducing themselves as the two rising ghost blades. Smiling with grim resolve, they vow to protect Mo as well as Warren and defeat the flying demonic blood lion. She warns them of his overwhelming power, but one urges her to detect, noting he just consumed poison. Realization dawns. Warren swapped the flower with a poisoned one, and Jungwook adds that the old man used his life energy as true chi, poisoning himself, giving them a fleeting chance if they can stall him. Jungwook and Namwook strike from opposite sides, launching the first assault. But the old man's eyes roll white, veins bulging as he sneers at their courage. His aura-enveloped arm blocks both swords, shattering them, then elongates to strike the two men. Caught off guard, they brace for impact, but a golden light erupts like a shield. Mo wielding soaring dragon emperor's sword and heavenly lightning ascension. Lightning dancing along her blade pierces the old man's left arm. Fear clouds her face even as she strikes. The old man roars, pivoting toward her, but a sudden unease halts him, forcing retreat. The two men create distance as he coughs blood, realizing the poison has taken hold, briefly pondering the Tang clan's involvement before dismissing it, fury swelling as he vows to crush them. Mo and her companions remain alert, recalling Ghostblade's words that the old man is nearing his limit, yet his maniacal laughter erupts, twisting to rage as he refuses to die at the hands of nameless nobodies rather than the Tang clan or Serpent Dragon sect. His eyes flare as he deduces Warren likely holds the demonic poison stone flower, aura intensifying as he swears to take it even if Warren consumed it, tearing open his own stomach if necessary. Surge after surge, he strikes Namwook, sending him flying. Mo the Young seizes an opening, but his body warps, rendering her strike useless. A crushing blow sends Jungwook down, leaving only Young standing, striking fear in her heart as she knows she can't throw shit against him. Warren crashes to the forest floor, body cracked and bleeding, coughing up dark, bitter blood, each breath a rasping struggle that claws at his chest. The flying demonic bloodline has marked him with its life essence, hunting relentlessly, and though he knows he must rise, his broken body refuses to obey. Memories flash promises to his companions, the weight of their trust, the bitter sting of his arrogance, until he notices the blood on his hands writhing unnaturally. Touching it, he feels a sinister energy coalescing into a twisted humanoid silhouette, whispering without words, tempting him to surrender control, to give in. He recalls the mysterious power within, the energy of the old man he once glimpsed before his regression, and understands that only by embracing it can he defeat the flying demonic blood lion. Yet the energy surges forcibly, suffocating and domineering, threatening to consume him utterly. Veins bulging, teeth gritted, eyes wide, he resists, silent and screaming in defiance, declaring he will not yield. Forcing the crimson tide back, vowing to protect his companions. The aura shatters, leaving him drenched in sweat but unbroken. Rising with newfound clarity, Warren charges toward the battlefield, body light unshackled, red energy erupting from his blade as he severs the old man's arm in a single devastating strike, blood spraying like a violent storm. The old man staggers, clutching the stump, shock and rage twisting his features, faltering further as he senses Warren's terrifying red aura, the unmistakable presence of a demonic master. Poison flares within him, convulsing, forcing blood from his mouth. Young recognizes the dread energy instantly, while Jungwook and Namwook stagger back, battered but alive, regrouping as four warriors side by side. Warren, calm yet fierce, explains that the flying demonic bloodlion has burned its life essence and, poisoned, will soon collapse, but until then, they must endure. With commanding authority, he orders survival, their eyes igniting with renewed determination. Weakened by poison and the loss of his arm, the old man growls, pride wounded but malice undiminished, declaring he has faced countless challenges, yet none like this, and with nothing left to lose, he unleashes the last of his strength, body blazing in a baleful purple aura, sneering that their struggle changes nothing. Both sides brace, charging with every ounce of strength, the life or death clash erupting in fury. Elsewhere, Goshok bellows at his subordinates for failing to locate the old man, driving them to the riverbank where the forest clears, only to find the aftermath of carnage, earth torn, air thick with blood, traces of the blood lion's martial arts etched into the ground. Unease gnaws at him as he rushes forward, discovering the old man's body riddled with fatal wounds, unmistakably dead. His men tremble, whispering that the foe is slain, but Goshok demands the flower's whereabouts, hesitating. The subordinates stammer that it is not present. Fury courses through him. He draws his sword, preparing to strike, forcing a young man to brace for death. Then, at the last moment, restrains himself, sheathing the blade with a snarl, eyes narrowing with murderous suspicion, mind racing to uncover who struck the balance of fate from the shadows and stole the flower. The forest swallows the riders as they flee, hooves thundering over the uneven ground, Jungwook laughing in disbelief at their narrow escape from the flying demonic bloodline, leaving Bi-young puzzled until he explains that a delay of mere moments would have meant death for all of them. Reflecting on the encounter, he notes the lingering danger, remarking that surviving such a battle marks one as strong, for even the lion, a fearsome force in Jonghu, had recognized its own mortality and fought with every ounce of its might. As they ride, Warren stirs, coughing blood, prompting concern from Bi-young. Pale and weary, he insists he is fine, acknowledging the battle's toll. From his robe he draws a strange flower, radiating an ominous purple aura, vowing to protect his family and clan despite the dangers ahead. Turning to Instructor Mo, he urges him and the two rising ghost blades to grow stronger, earning a determined nod from Jungwook while Namwook remains unconscious. When Bi-young presses him about the earlier energy, Jungwook notes it felt unlike the Tianzhong clans, closer to the aura of the flying demonic bloodline. Concern tightens around Bi-young, wondering if Warren has begun learning demonic arts, but he internally debates revealing his regression, fearing consequences, and denies the accusation, promising an explanation later. She insists he should not keep secrets, yet the rapid flight aggravates his injuries, forcing another harsh toss, and he offers faint reassurance that the truth will come at the right time. Seeing his condition worsen, Bi-young signals the group to stop and rest. Upon dismounting, she suggests seeking aid from the Jaegal clan, but Hwoarang refuses, reasoning their pursuers, including Goshok and the Serpent Dragon sect, would only bring trouble. Instead, he proposes heading to Mount Wudong, rumored home to the skilled physician Hai Dokgung, confirming the rumor to her wary glance. Meanwhile, on Mount Wudong, a white cat darts gracefully through the forest, pursued by a young man who warns the creature of the mountain's dangers. The cat halts at a rustle in the bushes, intrigued, drawing the young man's attention just as Warren's group emerges, battered and bloodied. Pale and smeared with blood, Warren cries out in relief, a scream piercing the forest and terrifying both the boy and the cat. Later, in a small straw house deep within the woods, Warren lies unconscious, receiving treatment. Awakening with a start from a nightmare of the flying demonic bloodline, relief washes over him at finding his body intact and the healer he sought. Soon the boy from earlier enters, noting Hwoarang's regained consciousness and explaining that he had been gravely injured and brought to this small clinic, run by his grandfather and himself. When Hwoarang tries to rise, the boy urges rest and medicine first, and curiosity prompts Hwoarang to confirm if the boy's grandfather is Hai Dokgung, recognition dawning that the boy himself is Hai, startled by Hwoarang's knowledge of his name. Warren reflects that the detour to Mount Wudang, even using the Jaegal clan as an excuse, was justified, for this child holds the key to completing the Tianzhong clan's unstable martial arts and is destined to ascend as the supreme Shell Ring. He recalls that before his regression, an unprecedented battle erupted over a martial arts tome, drawing unorthodox clans, demon sects, and the 5 great clans, introducing the revolutionary concept of the coexistence of good and evil within a human, a balance producing power beyond ordinary limits. Left behind by Sage Sanfeng, progenitor of the Wudong sect, the Yin-Yang Depth Heaven tome had been discovered by Hei's family while foraging for herbs, enabling the future Chaoyang to ascend as the strongest. As Warren observes, Hai diligently prepares medicine, catching a fly that lands on his cheek with lightning-fast reflexes, each motion a display of martial skill that leaves Warren silently astonished. Zhou smiles modestly, crediting his grandfather for the training that honed such precision. Soon, an elderly man with white hair and a warm, kind smile enters, noting Hwoarang's awakening. This is Hai Dokgung, Zhou grandfather. Once Hwoarang recovers, he steps into the yard where his companions have also healed, and together they bow deeply to Hai Dokgung, introducing themselves and offering thanks. Hai Dokgung waved them off, inquiring instead why a Tianzhong clan member is in Henan. Thinking quickly, Hwoarang claims he came seeking ginseng. Hai Dokgung, noting its rarity, asks the reason for the search, and Hwoarang, feigning sorrow, fabricates a tale of his gravely ill mother, adding tears to lend weight to the story. Bi-young marvels at his acting, though recollections of his mother's health stir her suspicion at the elaborate lie. Deeply moved, Hai Dokgung praises Hwoarang's filial devotion and rushes off to gather wild ginseng, leaving Hwoarang smiling while his companions gape in stunned disbelief. The scene shifts to the mountains, where Bi-young, drenched in sweat, sees Hwoarang scouring the terrain with desperate intensity. Noticing her slowing, he urges her forward, substituting his true objective, the yin-yang depth, for the ginseng story. And the three subordinates, inspired by his determination, resume their search. By sunset, exhaustion forces a halt, and Hei Dogong announces the day is done. The group returns to his house. Wiping sweat, Warren reflects on the difficulty of achieving goals even with foresight. Hei Dogong offers to send ginseng to him, but Warren requests to stay a few more days to continue searching. A request Hei Dogong grants. Later, inside the straw house, Warren meditates, red and black aura swirling around him, contemplating where Hei Dogong frequents for clues. Stepping outside, he finds Hei Dogong and they sit together. The grandfather invites him to hike, but Warren politely declines, preferring to continue searching alone. Xiaoryang appears holding a white cat, face pale with fear. Alarmed, Hei Dogong asks if a tiger was involved, and Xiaoryang explains he fled from people attempting to capture Baekhaesol the cat. Realizing martial artists suspect Baekhaesol to be a mystic animal, Hei Dogong grows concerned. Suddenly, a group appears, shouting that they have found their target. A girl around Xiaoryang's age comments on his speed, asks if he owns the cat, and offers to buy it. Xiaoryang firmly refuses, shielding Baekhaesol, drawing the gaze of Warren's subordinates. The girl, annoyed, demands an explanation and increases the offer, yet Xiaoryang resolutely rejects her. Hei Dogong steps forward, apologizing and explaining that Baekhaesol is family, not for sale. The girl warns that others might have taken the cat by force and insists Hei Dogong is lucky it is her making the offer, pressing him to hand it over. Observing her haughty demeanor, Warren notes her arrogance but sees a reflection of his former self. Stepping forward, he politely tells her it is wrong to demand what has already been refused. One of her subordinates, sword in hand, blocks him, arrogantly demanding he step back and questioning if he knows who they are. Calm and composed, Warren asks their identity. The man introduces himself as a member of the Jagal clan, revealing the girl is the youngest daughter of the clan head. Warren's mind sharpens. He deduces she must be Jagal Yohai, the younger sister of his fiancée Changyang. At Mount Wudong, Warren walks the forest like a desperate man looking for something. He looks for something in a pond, and finally, his curiosity takes him to the very top of Mount Wudong, and he looks out over the entire land spread beneath him, a wide, quiet view that makes him think about how the sun always sets no matter who is watching, how another day will pass whether he moves or not, and how he cannot stay in this place forever. A realization that settles in his chest as something close to surrender. When he meets his peers, his voice is firm and stripped of hesitation as he tells them to listen carefully, telling them they will leave completely as soon as all preparations are finished. While the two turds complain their muscles have stiffened from being idle too long, and the waifu with grace calmly says she will pack her things. And as they head inside, Warren watches their backs, already half detached, when a sudden presence rushes toward him at full speed. It is Xiaoryang, breath ragged, eyes desperate, asking Warren for help, and Warren tells him to slow down and catch his breath after running non-stop, only for Xiaoryang to cry out that Baekhaesol, his cat, must be hurt, showing fur matted with blood in his shaking hands. Warren's thoughts turn sharp and cold as he realizes it has gone too far, knowing the cat has been chased continuously by Yohai and is now injured, and Xiaoryang explains that Baekhaesol should have returned by now but has not been seen anywhere. Warren asks where Baekhaesol's territory might be, where Xiaoryang met the kitty for the first time, and Xiaoryang immediately understands what he means, which is enough for Warren to decide without hesitation that he will help, telling Xiaoryang that Baekhaesol is family and helping is only natural. Using his aerial arts, Warren storms through the forest without wasting a single minute, following Xiaoryang's directions until they reach a mountain, and when Warren looks down, he is shocked to see that the hideout lies far below. They descend and begin calling for Baekhaesol, Xiaoryang's voice breaking as he shows the blood and fur again, and Warren studies the signs, thinking that the traces mean the cat must be close. As they continue searching and calling his name, Warren reassures him they should look just a little longer until something catches his attention, a massive boulder sealing what looks like an entrance. Approaching it, Warren feels a faint breeze and realizes there is an opening behind the stone, and pride pushes him to try lifting it, flexing and pouring all his strength into the attempt, only for the boulder not to budge at all, an embarrassing reminder of his limits and the amount of chi he lacks. He considers asking Byung or the two muscleheads for help when Xiaoryang suddenly finds a hole, forcing Warren to scrabble to protect what remains of his pride by claiming his effort caused the crack, only for Xiaoryang to bluntly tell him it was always there, shattering that fragile dignity completely. Xiaoryang suggests Baekhaesol may have passed through despite the danger, and Warren goes in to check, stunned by how spacious it is inside, and amazed that such a massive chamber exists behind a simple boulder. A sudden light erupts, blinding him until his eyes adjust, revealing a man and then the unmistakable symbol of yin and yang, and within seconds, Warren realizes the corpse before him is the sage Sanfeng, making it unbelievable that the yin-yang depth heaven tome rests in a place like this. A trail of blood pulls his attention further inside, where he finds Baekseol lying still and soaked in blood, leaving Warren stunned that he has found both the injured cat and a legendary martial art in the same breath. Outside, Cheolryong waits in rising panic, praying silently, until a noise breaks the tension and a head emerges from the opening, followed slowly by a full figure, and as tears spill down Cheolryong's face, he sees Hwarin step out holding the kitty, whom he has finally found. Warren handed the battered Baekseol to Cheolryong, and the boy collapsed in tears. Warren said nothing, turning away with quiet, lethal resolve, eyes locking on the martial manual he had discovered in the cave. Rage had flared when he first saw Baekseol's battered form, but a quick inspection revealed the injuries weren't life-threatening, a small mercy amid chaos. His attention shifted to the meditating figure radiating untold skill, and Warren deduced that Baekseol had been raised by a true martial master. Scooping up Kitty, he prioritized healing first, promising exploration later. Then, as if marking a turning point, the meditating figure glowed and faded, a silent herald of a martial secret waiting to be claimed. Alarm surged. This was no ordinary discovery. Back in the present, Hwarin scanned the manual, realizing fate had led him here following Baekseol. Without this twist, he would never have found the cave or its hidden inheritance. Dark amusement flickered. In his past life, he would have passed the child by, indifferent to suffering, but now was different. Eyes closed, breaths steady, he embraced the change, vowing the sect would not fall, Henan would witness its rise, his family would thrive, and no obstacle would deter him. Time passed. Kitty fully healed. Cheolryong's sobs softened under his grandfather's reassurances. Warren stepped outside, met by Byung's fury for disappearing too long while everyone waited. Apologies spilled, justified by Baekseol's condition, but Byung scolded sharply. Warren smirked inwardly. Kitty safe, mission accomplished. When pressed about the ginseng, he revealed he had secured something far greater, the future itself, leaving the group stunned before slipping off to change. Before leaving, he thanked the old man sincerely, Cheolryong watching nervously, a subtle sign promising help if the boy ever traveled to Henan, which Cheolryong shyly agreed to. The old man questioned why he helped mere herb gatherers, and Warren replied the boy resembled him. Later, Byung asked about the jade emblem, and Warren chuckles, noting Cheolryong had already taught him something far more valuable. Memories flickered. Young Hyuna, begging to serve him, brought a fleeting smile. Plans to visit the Jaegal clan and his fiancée were postponed. Timing was wrong. Then the stench hit, thick and metallic. Corpses sprawled as far as the eye could see. Anger flared, restrained only until Hwarin noticed the dead guards bore the Jaegal mark. Hwarin's group rushes toward the source of the commotion, leaving their horses behind to continue on foot. Byung hearing the sounds clearly as they move, the brothers steeling themselves, reminding each other this is their second battle after the Bloodlion, Hwarin advising caution, suggesting they assess the situation before acting, and Jungwook agreeing, soon encountering a stockpile of corpses and seeing his sister-in-law and a guard surrounded by masked figures, Hwarin noticing Bayuk, the elder son of the Jegal family, standing beside her. The masked leader wearing a snake mask commanding his minions to attack, and one old man falling while protecting them, little Yohai screaming in fear and calling the man uncle, heightening the tense scene, Hwarin identifying the attackers as the White-Green Division. A ruthless group formed after Duke Sang ascended to the divine realm with the Pill of Life from the Green Blood Viper. Rage welling within him as he witnesses the carnage and realizes the Jegal clan is vulnerable, his thoughts turning to the Tai Department Heaven Tome and the Poison Stone Flower. Vowing to return home to complete his family's martial arts and reshape the future, his eyes glowing red as the new martial arts energize him, the snake leader lunging at Yohai but a figure stepping in to block the attack, injuring him, the woman shocked upon seeing Hwarin, who reveals he is the young master of the young clan, the snake leader hesitating but still ordering his minions to attack. Hwarin's squad intercepting all strikes, a young clan member murmuring disbelief at Hwarin's recovery, but he silences everyone, focusing on the battle. The child wondering how much Hwarin has changed over the past year. The snake leader challenging Hwarin, declaring all will die. Hwarin realizing a direct fight would be disastrous since they are outnumbered and the Jegal clan cannot fight, Byung offering to join but Hwarin, angered by the snake leader's mockery, declaring he will face him head-on, Namwap restraining Byung, telling her to watch carefully, Hwarin charging, furious, cursing the snake leader, the leader underestimating him and believing it will be an easy fight. Their swords clashing as Hwarin focuses entirely, closing the distance and unbalancing the leader, seizing the moment to deliver a precise, lethal strike that severs one of the snake leader's fingers. Everyone, including the leader, shocked. Hwarin, though frustrated, he could not take an arm. Smiling, satisfied with the advantage he has gained, Byung worrying but held back by one of the brothers, Horan facing the snake leader and asserting that what he needs is a single moment of opportunity, from here on the battle hinging on luck, staring down the snake leader with a commanding gaze, shocking him further by declaring he should inform squad leader Duke Sang that Horan himself hails from the hidden saint cult. Warren feels the weight of the moment crush down on him, thoughts spinning as the trap tightens around everyone. With a tense pause, he steps forward, eyes razor-sharp, voice steady as steel, commanding the commander to deliver a single message to Duke Song-hae, too, belongs to the hidden Sing cult. Young-wook squints, muttering to Byung that he can barely catch a word, while Byung's eyes widen in awe and disbelief, wherein is using the infamous sound transmission technique, a skill so fiendishly difficult that even seasoned fighters shiver at the thought. Warren's calm exudes quiet menace, promising that honesty is the only ticket to forgiveness. Suspicion ignites like gunpowder. The commander demands to know how Warren knows their squad leader's name, questioning everything about the boy before him. Memories flood back 5 years ago. The hidden saint cult fell to the 3 demonic heavens, and Warren had been there, witnessing it all. Locking eyes with the commander, barely 20 yet carrying impossible knowledge, Warren boldly claims membership in the hidden saint cult. The commander steps closer, blade inching toward Warren's neck, disbelief contorting his face like he's seen a ghost. The test comes: which heaven does he belong to? Warren calculates on the spot the cult is fractured. The Sun Saint cult lusts for power. The Moon Saint cult worships blindly. The Hidden Saint cult mediates. Assassins? Definitely pointing at the Sun Saint cult. Rolling the dice, Warren declares allegiance to the Sun Saint cult. Silence stretches like a held breath. Then the commander orders his men to back off. The tension snaps, leaving Warren alone with the aftermath. Blood bursts from his mouth, an internal wound from earlier reminding him he's mortal after all. Byung rushes to him, gripping him as consciousness threatens to slip away. Dusk settles over the cleared scene, Warren standing tall, masking every shred of weakness. Yo-hai approaches, troubled but steady, offering her clan's rare healing medicine capable of mending internal injuries. Warren insists he expects nothing in return, but Yo-hai's quiet thanks lingers, tugging a faint smile across his lips. Byung slides in, teasing mercilessly that she never imagined their little shoddy could look cute while bleeding out like a scene from a drama. Medicine in hand, Warren exhales, admitting she startled him while she confesses her fear of his reckless streak. He explains bluntly that he acted to save everyone. Resting her head against his shoulder, she contrasts the resentful, distant man he once was with the one risking life and limb now, pride and admiration threading through her voice. Overwhelmed but resolute, Warren whispers quietly, a vow wrapped in simplicity. He is simply doing his best. The next day, Warren rides with the Jagal clan, the steady thunder of hooves echoing tension so thick you could slice it with a blade. Jagal Bayuk breaks the silence, his voice cutting through the rhythm of the ride, dripping with gratitude for Warren's escort back to their territory. Byuk admits the clan is dangerously short on fighters, exposed like lambs if the assassins strike again. Warren remains unnervingly calm, shrugging off the risk as if visiting the Jagal clan was always on his to-do list. Byuk casually suggests Warren is heading to see Chongyang, but Yo-hei leans out from the carriage, curious why he's so drawn to her. Warren shuts it down, pivoting sharply to the real issue, why the Jagal clan is under attack. A ripple of unease flashes through Byuk and Yo-hei. Their eyes lock in silent worry. Warren presses harder, pointing out that the clan dominates this territory, and such brazen attacks scream of a deeper, calculated threat. Yo-hei throws a flimsy coincidence excuse, promptly shot down by Byuk, who decides Warren deserves the truth for risking his life. With careful words, Byuk reveals the twist. The assassin's real target was Yo-hei all along. Warren's eyes narrow, the implication hitting like a knife she was bait. Byuk details how the assassins slaughtered their warriors but deliberately spared Yo-hei, signaling a shadowy mastermind maneuvering behind the scenes. Warren deduces she was meant as leverage, a bargaining chip for some unknown agenda. Byuk's expression hardens. Someone is quietly pulling strings, possibly using sensitive clan intel. Arriving at the Jagal clan gates, Warren feels a storm of anticipation and unease. Memories of Chongyang flicker their arranged marriage before birth, him frail and weak, her a disciplined martial prodigy. Their connection reduced to a lifeless contract. Reality snaps him back as Byuk summons him, calling him the Yang clan heir, inviting a formal meeting with the clan head. Warren instructs his companions to rest and strides alone into the grand estate, introducing himself with measured pride. The clan head rises with a booming laugh, seizing Warren's shoulders, marveling at his transformation. The man Jagal Byuk, heaven-ruling sword, clan head radiates authority tempered with warmth. Pleasantries exchanged. Bio can't resist noting Hwarin's impressive physique, the result of serious training, hinting Chongyang will be thrilled. Hwarin deflects modestly, but Byuk pushes on, reminding him someone waits eagerly. Another guest of similar age has arrived. They are to meet. Hwarin nods and departs. Descending the estate steps, Hwarin zeroes in on Chongyang. At the gates, a minor showdown erupts. An attendant and a guest bicker over introductions. The guest, Zhou Guang of the Songjiang clan, smirks, mockingly shaking Hwarin's hand and acknowledging him as Tanjiang clan heir. Hwarin hesitates, then accepts firmly, eyes sharp. Zhou Guang claims precedence in visiting Chongyang, implying she belongs to him today. Hwarin counters coldly, reminding the man he comes for the woman promised since birth. The tension thickens. Zhou Guang mutters rumors of Hwarin's past frailty, clearly uncomfortable. Byuk steers them, noting Chongyang waits in the courtyard. Both men rush forward and freeze as a blade slices through the air, nearly taking Zhou Guang's head off. Hwarin's gaze locks on Chongyang. She stands poised, the sword resting at her sparring partner's throat, who surrenders right away. Hwarin's mind drifts back to that first unforgettable moment he saw Chongyang. Her return triumphant to their territory was alive with deafening cheers, the crowd shouting her title in awe. The snow blossom blade of the 12 martial blossoms has returned with the demonic human's head, someone exclaimed, astonished at the martial prowess emerging from the Jagal clan. Whispers of her obsession with training spread like wildfire until her name Chongyang echoed clearly across the masses. Among the crowd, frail and weak, stood the young Hwarin, eyes fixed on her. For a fleeting instant, their gazes met. That memory dissolves and fades into the present. Reflecting inwardly, he admires her rise. By 40, she is one of the 3 strongest female martial artists, her swordsmanship long surpassing his own. The present shatters his reverie as Zhou Guang rushes toward Chongyang, shouting her name with forced familiarity. She responds coldly, questioning his frequent visits, her sharp tone cutting through the pretense. Zhou Guang laughs nervously, claiming he came merely to see her, but Chongyang interrupts, stating she already has a fiancé. Her gaze shifts past Zhou Guang, settling on Hwarin with surprise and uncertainty. Stepping forward, she asks if it is truly him. Hwarin greets her calmly, acknowledging the long time past. She studies him, voice softening, inquiring if he is truly healthy. He confirms, explaining his travels and that his visit was solely to see her. When she asks if he will stay several days, he pauses, smiles faintly, and says no. He will leave early the next morning, having come only for her. Suggesting they speak again after her training the next day, he turns away, leaving her gaze lingering behind them. Zhou Guang sees with jealousy, fists clenched, a storm brewing silently within him. That night in his quarters, Hwarin reads quietly when Zhou Guang arrives unannounced, sitting across without pleasantries. He declares his love for Chongyang and presses Hwarin about the arranged marriage. Hwarin responds sharply, calling out Zhou Guang's lack of manners. Zhou Guang mocks Hwarin's weakness, compared to his own rising title of Azure Cloud Dragon Blade, challenging his worth and even questioning his love for Chongyang. Hwarin's gaze chills as he shoves Zhou Guang's hand away, instructing him to leave. Zhou Guang conceals a small vial in his sleeve, warning Hwarin he will regret this before departing. Alone, Hwarin's irritation flares. His eyes fall on the tie-depth heaven tome, realizing he may need it sooner than expected. Later, Heir arrives quietly, asking if she disturbs him. Hwarin notes her refined demeanor, far removed from the mischievous girl at Mount Wudong. She explains she came knowing he would leave in the morning, bowing respectfully. Hwarin remarks that staying longer might interfere with Chongyang's training and that he has matters at home. Heir nods but leans in teasingly, pressing him about marrying Chongyang. Hwarin's annoyance rises, yet he remains silent, internally sighing at the endless concern over his marriage, deciding it is time to make matters clear. The next morning the group prepares to depart, met at the front by Byuk, Chongyang, and Heir. Byuk questions the haste of their departure. Hwarin replies that having greeted the clan head and met Chongyang, it is proper to take his leave. Byuk jokes Chongyang will be disappointed. She lowers her gaze, sadness in her expression. Hwarin gently calls out, asking if they might speak privately, but a loud voice cuts through. The title of the Yang clan heir rings out. Zhou Guang strides forward with a smirk, bowing theatrically before Hwarin. He announces himself as Zhou Guang, the Azure Cloud Dragon Blade of the Songchun clan, formally demanding a duel with the heir of the Tianzhong clan. Chongyang slices through the noise with a cold, sharp condemnation, her dark eyes locking on him, calling out the shamelessness of challenging a gravely wounded opponent and insisting that true honor demands a proper duel at a proper time. Zhou Guang doesn't flinch. He smirks, mocking laughter rolling across the restless audience, claiming there's no shame in challenging the heir of a martial clan. He just wants a glimpse of the legendary Soren Dragon Emperor's sword. Since Hwarin is about to leave, the duel must happen now. Arrogance gleams in his eyes as he presses the demand, daring Hwarin to accept. Warren narrows his gaze, reading Jiakwang's trap immediately. This isn't about glory, it's about humiliation. Despite lingering injuries, he glances at Jungwook, Namwook, and Byung, all poised and eager, their readiness electrifying. Jungwook silently declares it's time for the world to witness the restoration of Hwarin's sword. A faint, rare smile flickers across Hwarin's face as he checks with Byung if she'll intervene. She first warns him against it, reminding him he isn't fully healed, but then steps closer, her voice softening. She admits she knows he will accept, because he always fights for the Tianzhong clan, pledging to follow his choice. Her words land like a hammer, stirring something deep inside, and for the first time in ages, Hwarin's smile is genuine. He steps forward, the heir of the Tianzhong clan, and declares his acceptance. The arena opens, tension thick enough to taste. Yu, Yohai, and Chongyang oversee the duel. Yohai lays down the rules. Chi may be used, but lethal techniques and sword chi are forbidden. Victory comes only if a weapon drops or a blade shatters, and any blade broken by channeling Gi counts as defeat. Jiakwang grins, confident the rules favor him. Hwarin's injury is still hopeless chi manipulation. His plan is to toy with the wounded heir, stretching the fight into a public humiliation. Hwarin ups the ante, proposing a wager. The loser will never set foot in the Jaegao clan again. Jiakwang laughs overconfident, thinking victory is inevitable, while Hwarin calmly insists the terms must be honored. Yohei notes the clever twist. Hwarin's victory would exile Jiakwang forever, while defeat costs him little. Buke, ever the realist, predicts Hwarin's fall, citing the skill gap against the seasoned Azure Cloud Dragon Blade of the Songchun clan. Pyongyang remains silent, eyes fixed skyward. At last, they face off. Jiakwang announces his name with pride. Hwarin mirrors it, a quiet storm in his gaze. Jiakwang sneers at the Tianzhong clan, calling them worms. Yoan's eyes harden, promising to demonstrate their true strength. Then the duel starts. Steel meets steel, the clash slicing through the charged silence. Sparks rain like fire from the heavens. The duel explodes to life, as Jiakwang and Hwarin launch at each other, eyes locking midair with a heat that could ignite the arena itself. Blades collide in a metallic crash that shake the stands, and Jiakwang immediately goes full throttle, raining down a flurry of strikes with a smug confidence. Hwarin staggers, barely deflecting the onslaught, slipping through slashes like a ghost, each movement precise despite his battered body. Jiakwang roars in frustration, lunging for another blow, only to find Hwarin's sword rising just enough to block, every motion sharp, controlled, almost impossible for someone in his state. Inside, Jiakwang seethes, furious that his target can track attacks that should be beyond his strength, while Hwarin's eyes shine with deadly focus, vision sharpened by Chi and the old master's forbidden techniques far sooner than anyone should have achieved. Jiakwang mocks him silently, calling him as fast as a rat before unleashing the Azure Cloud Sword. A violent flare of blue chi slicing through the air. Recognition hits Hwarin like a punch to the gut. Even Yohei can't hide her gasp, identifying the legendary Songchun clan technique. Jiakwang demands everything Hwarin has left. Planting his stance, Hwarin floods his blade with golden chi and counters with the Dragon Emperor's sword. Sparks explode outward, lighting the arena in a storm of clashing power. Jiakwang sneers, taunting the Tianzhong clan's supposedly mighty sword, hammering harder and faster with each strike. Hwarin's arms tremble under the relentless assault until a crushing blow tears through his guard, hurling him across the arena like a rag doll. Jiakwang, thinking the fight won, unveils a secret weapon, the Severing Sphere. Blue chi surges outward, a lethal storm meant to cleave Hwarin's arms from his body. But when the dust settles, Hwarin still stands, blood streaking his skin, wounds raw and dripping, arms shaking but unbroken. Even his Jaegal siblings and his companions freeze in disbelief, mouths open, hearts racing. Jiakwang's shock ignites into rage. His supposedly unbeatable technique failed to take even a single limb. With grim determination, Hwarin binds his wounded arm to his sword with a strip of cloth, lifts the weapon, and radiates an unshakable defiance that challenges Jiakwang to keep swinging. Fury consumes Jiakwang completely. His long-standing irritation with Hwarin boils over. He despises the man's calm superiority, his infuriating know-it-all air, and what started as a dispute over Chongyang has become personal. His killing intent detonates through the arena, a force that makes the crowd flinch. On the sidelines, Yohei screams for Byuk to intervene, begging him to stop the madness, but he stays frozen, silent. Even Chongyang's cold gaze offers no mercy or reprieve. Hwarin lowers his blade, mind racing. He knows Jiakwang has a point. His calm is a mask over a fear of death. His confidence a theft of the future from a child he failed. He is no saint, but he's done running from the storm that has been chasing him. Clutching his sword with both hands, he floods it with raw chi. Every inch of his being screaming a single declaration, he will throw everything into protecting those he can. For a heartbeat, Jaegawang falters, sensing the monstrous power radiating from Hworin. Then fury reclaims him, faster, fiercer, more brutal than before. Hworin plants himself like an immovable mountain, voice calm but razor sharp, radiating the silent message of the Tianzhong clan. This is why they are the clan of dragons. The duel between Hworin and Jaegawang erupts into a death contest. Yuha's alarm cuts through the chaos, insisting the spar has spiraled out of control and must end now. Chongyang reacts like a coiled spring, blade drawn, ready to intervene the instant the fight tips further into madness. Blue chi crackles violently through the air, but at the center, another energy stirs, twisting and coiling until it erupts into the unmistakable form of a dragon, shimmering with lethal beauty. The crowd freezes, mouths agape, hearts pounding, while Yohai mutters in disbelief, barely able to comprehend what they're seeing. Hworin's companions, in stark contrast, grin quietly, pride etched on their faces as the dragon coils around their friend. Jaegawang's confidence shatters as he realizes Hworin isn't just he's absorbing every ounce of energy, growing stronger with every heartbeat. Every breath, panic claws at him. Defeat looms like a shadow ready to swallow him whole. Just as the tension threatens to snap the arena into chaos, a thunderous voice commands silence. Jaegao appears, a figure of absolute authority, seizing both forces of energy effortlessly and declaring the duel over. His tone sharpens into a warning. Had the clash continued another heartbeat, death was inevitable. Jaegawang can't process it, his pride stinging, insisting he would have won. But Buke's icy gaze reminds him of the rules. A broken or dropped sword equals defeat. Horror drains Jaegawang's face as he sees his blade snapped in half, his denial twisting into accusations of forbidden sorcery, claiming Hworin's power must be demonic. Before the tirade can spiral further, Chongyang steps in, blade poised near his neck, shutting down the humiliation spectacle and reminding him of the wager he signed on to. The arena falls into stunned silence. Jaegawang, stripped of dignity, finally turns away, shoulders heavy with defeat, exiting in disgrace. Buke mutters in disbelief at the sheer audacity of someone like Jaegawang daring to claim the Tianzhong clan heir seat, but his expression softens into a broad smile as he acknowledges Hworin's mastery and valor, even while still nursing injuries. Yet Buke's eyes narrow with caution, admitting his intervention was necessary to prevent a death, a reminder that even dragons need checks. Hworin bows faintly, accepting the praise, while Buke laughs at the faint trickle of blood on his lips, scolding him for reckless stamina and insisting he rest properly at the main estate and engage Chongyang in conversation. Hworin nods, blending back with his companions, but Buke's eyes linger, sharp and calculating, quietly recognizing the Tianzhong clan hides a true dragon. Buke notices his own hand is wounded from suppressing Hworin's chi, triggering a flash of memory and contemplation before erupting into a booming laugh. He orders his son, Jaegao, to accelerate their plans, and the son accepts without question, a storm of ambition already in motion. That night, Hworin tends to his wounds. Later that night, Hworin sits alone in his quarters, the flickering lamplight dancing across a body that looks more like a topographical map of scars than a human torso. As he tends to his fresh wounds, he can't help but mutter about how today's duel just added another unwanted layer to his already battered collection. A soft knock breaks his self-pity session, and Hworin moves with the speed of a man who definitely isn't in pain, straightening his clothes and composing himself before calling for the visitor to enter. The door glides open to reveal Chongyang, who steps inside with a kind of serene elegance that makes Hworin's messy room look even worse by comparison. She settles across from him, her eyes scanning his weary form and surgical-grade scars with intense curiosity before finally asking if he's actually okay. Hworin just lifts his mangled hand, tracing the combat marks with a faint smile, admitting he might have gone a bit overboard but insisting he's fine. The silence turns awkward fast until they both try to speak at once, but Chongyang takes the lead. She notes that Jaegawang was no joke, explaining that the Song Chun clan's Azure Cloud Sword is designed specifically to shred people with overwhelming chi. She's impressed. Despite being a walking bandage, Hworin actually pulled off a win. She mentions his final move looks suspiciously like the Soaring Dragon Emperor technique, but with a weird twist, even accusing him of secretly moonlighting with the Wudong sect to learn how to drain energy. She wants to know how we got this strong so fast after his recovery, but Hworin just sighs internally, realizing her obsession with martial arts is still at borderline concerning levels. Chongyang catches herself rambling and pivots to the important stuff. Warren straightens up, getting serious, and declares that his goal has never changed. He wants to protect his clan and family at any cost. He raises his right hand high, a smile touching his lips as he tells her that she has her own path, and he wants her to live freely to pursue it. Shane Young tilts her head, looking genuinely confused, so Warren lays it out. She's destined to be a legendary martial artist, and he has no intention of standing in her way. The mood shifts instantly when she sharply asks about another woman, causing Warren to nearly choke on air. He quickly clarifies that it's not some cliché romance drama. The truth is, they just have different loves. She loves the blade, he loves his family. He wants her unbound by boring obligations. They lock eyes for a long beat before she sighs and drops a bombshell request. She wants a duel. Right now. Cut to the training courtyard under a silver moon where Hwarin is scratching his head, wondering how he got talked into this. Chong-young isn't playing though. She explains that you can learn more from clashing steel than talking, claiming she can read his thoughts through his sword. Hwarin gives in with a smirk, settling into his stance, and the next second the courtyard explodes with the sound of ringing steel. They lunge at each other, blades colliding under the moonlight in a dance of pure high-stakes violence. But strangely, they're both grinning, laughing silently through the exchange, as if their swords are doing the talking for them. Deep down, Warren whispers a silent goodbye to her, knowing this is the end of an era. By morning, Hwarin and his crew are at the Jaegal clan gates, bowing respectfully before mounting their horses. As they prepare to ride out, Warren catches Chong-young watching from a distance with a warm smile. He returns the look, and they ride off into the sunrise, leaving their swords embedded in the courtyard ground as a silent, badass testament to the night's conversation. After a grueling journey, the squad is finally kicking back, in an inn where the air is a thick blend of booze and roasted meat. Jungkook leans in, eyes sparkling with fanboy energy, demanding to know how Hwarin finds time to train so hard. Namwook joins the interrogation, scratching his head over those weird techniques from the duel. Jungkook is convinced he saw the soaring Dragon Emperor sword, but it felt different. Warren just laughs it off, reminding them he's been stuck with them 24/7, so when would he even find the time? Little do they know, Warren is having a mental crisis. He's thinking, yeah, it with the dragon sword, but his fading chi let the Tai Depth Heaven Arts crash the party. Usually, the dragon sword is all about raw power, but mixed with Tai Depth, it turns into a chi-eating monster. He realizes if he masters this, he won't just beat opponents, he'll accidentally delete their entire existence. As Warren contemplates becoming a walking black hole, Jungkook hoists a cup, shouting that their leader is basically leveling up in real time. Byung watches silently, dreaming of the day the Tianzhong clan stops being a has-been and returns to its former glory. She slams her drink down like a boss, telling everyone to stop slacking because their young leader is leaving them in the dust. Jungkook doubles down, screaming about how weeks ago nobody expected Warren to wreck a demonic blood warrior and an elite swordsman in the same month. While they celebrate, a creepy cloaked figure is watching from the balcony like a classic stalker. Upstairs, a man is literally scratching the table until his fingers bleed, muttering about witchery and sorcery. He's clearly not taking the loss well and screams for blood. The next day, the group is back on the forest path, but Warren treats his horse like a Ferrari, surging way ahead. Byung has to yell at him to chill before he kills the poor animal. Hwarin gives a "my bad" look, calling her instructor Byung to smooth things over and suggests a pit stop at a nearby spring. While the crew does the heavy lifting with the water, Hwarin goes straight back into meditation. Jungkook and Namwook think it's great he's so focused, while Byung notes that this grind mindset is a rare window for growth. Suddenly the vibe shifts. Hwarin's eyes snap open, his hand flying to his sword as he senses a chill in the air. He barks at the trees to show themselves, and suddenly a group of cloaked figures surrounds them. Byung realizes these aren't your average neighborhood bandits. Their che is way too high. These are professional killers. Jungkook wonders if it's the same goons from before, but Warren notices something off. These guys don't feel like assassins. They feel like they're from an orthodox sect. Then, a voice dripping with pure salt echoes from the shadows, calling Warren a wrecked demon. A man steps into the light and Hwarin's heart hits his shoes as he recognizes the face. It's Jokwangung. Jokwang unleashed a dark, ominous aura that radiated menace. Warren instantly recognized the weapon's Songchuan clan, and noticed with concern that Jokwang wasn't even hiding his identity. The tension thickened as Warren reflected on the Jaegal clan incident, sensing that Jaegagwang's actions were connected. Jaegagwang silenced Warren with a sharp order, revealing that he could sense Warren's demonic arts despite others being oblivious, and he had come to slay him. Byung scoffed at the audacity, noting to Warren that Jokwang was clearly unstable. His veins bulged. His mind roiled, and his inner chi was in chaos. Classic chi deviation. Warren, pragmatic as ever, noted they had already lost once. Further confrontation seemed futile. Jokong laughed, oblivious to reality. As Warren realized the spring water was poisoned and his chi had stopped flowing, gentleman's poison. Classic move. Warren seethed at the cowardice, calling out the hypocrisy of Jokwang daring to label himself an orthodox martial artist. Jokwang ranted, claiming that to slay a demon, worse acts were justified, shouting about the pain endured to reach his cultivation level and swearing he wouldn't lose to trash like Warren. Namwook assessed the dire situation. All had drunk the poisoned spring. Dozens of warriors approached, and Jokogwang's chi deviation made them determined killers. Without chi, victory was impossible. Jokogwang's minions advanced, swearing their master would not die before them. Warren paused, then resolutely declared that no one would die today. In a sudden surge, he unlocked his demonic chi, wrapping his Dantian in overwhelming power. Jokong's shouting continued as Warren struggled with the first-ever release of his own chi, a domineering force equivalent to 60 years of cultivation, threatening to consume him if focus faltered. Jokwang commanded his minions to attack, promising a clan-wide purge of the demon, and they charged. Warren realized the fight had to end fast. He swung his sword with blinding speed, slicing through enemies like butter, cutting down multiple attackers before they could even react. As he closed on Jokwang, more minions emerged, skillfully dodging his strikes and trapping him in a deadly formation. Inside the formation, Warren fought against the consuming demonic chi, slowed but undeterred. The sound of Bai Young getting hurt snapped him into a frenzy, and he charged the enemies with terrifying speed, drawing the full attention of the squad. Seizing the moment, Jokwang launched from the air, aiming to finish everything in one decisive strike. Suddenly, a brilliant red aura erupted as Warren unleashed the heavenly lightning ascension. Even from afar, the attack screamed power, leaving Bai Young shocked. It was an advanced sword art she could barely mimic, and she couldn't fathom how Warren had executed it. She scanned the battlefield, noting the others barely clinging to consciousness, and observed chi still bursting around them. One of the warriors realized the shockwave hadn't reached them, and Bai Young explained it was because Warren had precisely controlled it before the climax. Warren remained motionless in the aftermath, and as he regained awareness, he found himself somewhere else entirely, water beneath his feet, everything else pure white. Warren gets up, realizing that Bai Young and her two allies are still fighting, and he must get back to them. The calm blue sea around him abruptly turns red, dragging him toward a demonic abyss, likely his inner demons. On the other side, Bai Young senses something is wrong. The person before them is no longer fully under their lord's control. She struggles to move freely using a lord's body, and Jongwook explains they cannot intervene since their inner chi is unusable. Frustrated, Bai Young insists they cannot just stand by. Suddenly, Warren moves as if possessed, charging his sword at a half-dead man with terrifying precision. As he sinks deeper into the abyss, Yanhua intervenes, pushing him upward. At that moment, Warren regains consciousness, only to find everyone restraining him. Bai Young commands him to resist the controlling power, reminding him of his vow to protect his family and make the Tianzhong clan the greatest sect. Warren regains control and instructs Bai Young to seal his pressure point. She does, and he collapses safely into her arms while an old man warns that next time it will not be so easy. The two muscle-bound allies breathe relief, and Bai Young explains that striking his pressure points while he was still lost could have made his chi spiral violently out of control. Youngwook recalls nearly losing it when Howren tried to kill Jokwang, noting that even though Jokwang is insane, his clan belongs to the Orthodox faction, and news of his death could have caused chaos. Before he can elaborate, Bai Young strides toward the half-dead man. The others think she's seeking an antidote, but she clarifies that their fixation on it is irrelevant. In a lightning-fast move, she eliminates the man, shocking the brothers. She explains that he had tried to kill their young lord and witnessed Warren's strange chi. Leaving him alive would have been a ticking time bomb, so she handles the task herself. Shangwook rushes to find an antidote, but sees Warren already drinking it. He questions whether it's correct, then realizes that poisons and antidotes can be identified by physical reactions to their smell. Alongside the antidote, he discovers a rare and valuable item. Warren awakens at an inn and immediately tests his chi. It has returned stronger than ever. Reflecting on the near-death caused by his berserk chi and the half-dead man's attack, he acknowledges how close he came to losing himself before mastering the Taiki department heaven tone, even wondering if this chi resembles the old man's soul. Across the room, his allies examine a precious ornament at a table. Warren exits the room, and Namwook asks about his condition. Warren assures him he is fine and inquires about the ornament, which Namwook says was seized from the half-dead man. It is a token of Chouhi, proof to meet the most beautiful woman in Hunan. Tension rises, and Bai Young demands an explanation. Warren apologizes, explaining that poison disrupted his chi, forcing him to act impulsively to protect everyone. Byung thanks him for saving lives, but stresses the need to understand the unusual chi within him. Warren promises to explain everything, but asks about the half-dead man. Byung lies, claiming he disappeared, preventing potential clan complications, and the group reluctantly accepts her word. Their conversation is interrupted by the innkeeper, who orders them to leave. But the old man clarifies that the Sky Ocean Merchant Guild has rented the entire inn. Warren recalls this organization, which he joined in his past life as a son-in-law. The Sky Union Merchant dominated Hunan with unmatched wealth and influence, running the Sky Ocean Inn, the Sky Ocean House, and countless other major establishments, a machine of power that even the most seasoned clans approach cautiously. Warren's mind raced. He could not forget them, not after a past life spent as its master. In the present, a shady faction lurked, attempting to manipulate events, while the innkeeper's frantic warnings to leave echoed through the halls. Warren immediately recognized the Merchant Union and understood the innkeeper's nervous energy. Rising with calm authority, he refused their demands, asserting that even as a guest he would not bend. Jongwook's eyes narrowed, noting the danger. The Tianzhong clan could not treat the Sky Ocean Merchant Union lightly, their strength and wealth an ocean-sized threat. The tension snapped as an arrogant figure swaggered in, boasting about Hwaran while acting oblivious to him. When Hwaran declared himself the young master of the Tianzhong clan, the man mocked him, claiming the young master was too sickly to leave home. Hwaran's presence alone made that laughable. The man tried to frame his demands as pleas for peace, but where others dashed a polite veneer, this was intimidation, nothing more, a test of spine, and Warren's sharp mind roasted the Union's false sense of honor. If orthodox martial artists imposed their will, how were they any different from the demonic factions? The man seethed and cursed, bragging about the Union's power while Hwaran insisted on settling this through Zhongru law, forcing the man to challenge them outside. Moyang questioned Hwaran's decision to engage, but Hwaran knew retreat was death for reputation. Letting a minion intimidate him would signal weakness, and this moment had been set the second the Union's name hit his ears. Outside, the arrogant man lunged, attacks sharp but slow, almost comedic, as Warren moved with a predator's precision, dodging effortlessly without unsheathing his sword, proving every rumor of his sickness was nonsense. The crowd watched as Warren's movements blurred, anticipation building, and with a single decisive strike, the fight ended before it began. Then, from a caravan, an imposing figure descended. Huang Jung, daughter of the Sky Ocean Merchant Union master and Hwaran's wife from his previous life, stepping into the scene like a storm. She revealed astonishment at finding a hidden dragon within the Tianzhong clan, closing in on Hwaran with a mixture of curiosity and challenge. Remembering the horrors of his past life with her, Hwaran politely declined her meal invitation, keeping a tight grip on his composure. Offended, she snapped her fans closed, leaving with a warning that their paths would cross again, leaving tension hanging like a blade above them. Moyang gawked at Warren's flawless victory and the sheer audacity of rejecting the Union's daughter, while the muscleheads groaned over lost wine and charm. Warren urged everyone to finish quickly and leave. Lingering was dangerous. Alone in the streets, he tried to clear his mind with meditation and sword practice, but memories of collusion and sweet moments with Wunkyung gnawed at him. Just as he started to regain focus, a commotion erupted ahead. A man named Goshok emerged, stealing Warren's attention. From afar, Warren observes the chaotic scene and wonders how Goshok managed to reach this place, noticing something off about his rabid black wolf. Goshok demands that the item he seeks be handed over, warning that continued refusal will cost lives. Confused, the man claims the object doesn't exist, while Goshok boasts that his black wolf can scent prey from 50 kilometers away, implying that since the wolf came, the target must be present. Warren realizes the black dog has tracked the demonic poison stoneflower to this man, but cannot understand why Goshok is approaching him. Declaring he must kill the man, Goshok announces himself as the young master of the Serpent Dragon sect of Hubei, and promises rewards to anyone who captures the target, prompting nearly half the crowd to draw their swords. The man, exasperated, vows vengeance even in death, introducing himself as Zhang Sok, a name that rings a bell for Hwaran. Despite his ragged appearance, Zhang Sok carries himself with refinement, clearly from a reputable lineage. Charging into the group, he slays half of them instantly. Goshok, angered at the scene, attacks, and inadvertently wounds his own subordinate alongside Zhang Sok, earning Zhang Sok's ire for stooping so low. Even injured, Zhang Sok begins exuding a black aura, and Hwaran finally recognizes him as Zhang, a legendary hero against demons, last disciple of the Hidden Saint cult, who despite practicing demonic arts, upheld the chivalrous spirit. Warren, gripping a rock, reflects that it would be a tragedy for such a man to die over a mere object. Suddenly, a stone flies past Zhang, halting his attack. Goshok demands to know the assailant, but Warren intervenes, telling them to stop. Zhang initially tells Warren to move aside, but upon recognition, acknowledges him while insisting the conflict is unrelated. Warren, seeing Zhang exhausted, insists on helping, while Goshok questions the necessity of bloodshed at this level. The crowd freezes as a commoner reveals Warren's earlier heroics saving Zhang. The Muscle Brothers arrive, impressed by Zhang's skill in acknowledging his title as Sword Demon. Jangwook remarks that Warren has chosen the righteous path in Jiangwood despite fear of the Serpent Dragon sect, and Zhang expresses gratitude for Warren's concern, though Warren insists on aiding those in need. The battle intensifies with evenly matched exchanges until Goshok becomes confused by Warren's identity. Warren's aura forces the minions to flee, and Goshok retreats, promising future confrontation. Wherein realizes the black dog must be eliminated, fearing it will again track the demonic poison stone flower. He launches his sword at the pathetic beast but misses by an inch. Then, using the Soaring Dragon Emperor sword and his flying sword technique, Warren manipulated the sword's trajectory mid-air, astonishing everyone and finally killing the black dog. The crowd erupted in a thunderous roar as young Warren stood frozen in the center, staring at his trembling hands. Disbelief washing over him that the flying sword technique he had practiced hundreds of times had finally been perfected, the culmination of relentless effort now manifesting in a flawless display. Jong Sok, standing a short distance away, froze in shock, eyes wide as he recognized Twaim, the Rolban 20 Han Sruv. The Tanshong clan could wield a technique from a sect long vanished, while the crowd buzzed with awe, one spectator exclaiming the sword moved like a soaring dragon, another insisting that such a blade deserved a name, sparking an instant chant of flying dragon sword hero that rolled through the square like wildfire, prompting Warren to curl his lips into a faint, amused smile. Warren froze, sweat trickling down his forehead, and turned to see Byung sighing at his habitual recklessness, noting that even a moment's distraction could drag him into another fight. His nervous protest fell flat as Byung explained that the Songchen clan, unlike the lawless Serpent Dragon sect, could not use force freely, before softening, eyes gleaming with quiet pride as she praised Warren for defeating Gochuk without a scratch and acknowledged his remarkable improvement. Just as he absorbed the praise, Jong Sok collapsed from his injuries, and later that night awoke in a dim room, disoriented, only to find Warren had already treated him, prompting Jong Sok to bow deeply in gratitude, calling Warren a true hero, while Warren smiled and offered a contract to serve as his bodyguard. Fair pay included, revealing a pouch overflowing with silver that left Jong Sok's eyes wide in disbelief. Tears welling as he confessed his younger sister suffered from a deadly illness and the money would allow her treatment, prompted Framtinitz. The room fell silent except for Jong Sok's quiet sobs, until the next morning he arrived with his sister, Jong Moonye, who bowed gracefully and thanked Warren, who introduced himself as young Warren of the Tenjong clan and presented his companions, the twin rising Ghostblade, both proud bodyguards and warriors of his clan, though Warren teased them for preferring guarding wine over people, earning protests from Namuk and a sharp, quietly disdainful observation from Bai Young. Plans for the next destination sparked chaos. Warren declared they would head to Zhongjiao, not back to the clan despite protests from Byung and confused exclamations from Jongwook. Because to control his chi and prevent it from consuming his body he needed the Tai Def Heaven Tome, whose cultivation required someone in Zhongjiao, and having already sent a messenger pigeon, he announced departure the next morning, leaving companions exasperated, muttering, rugging helplessly. Morning came with Jong Sok bringing a horse and introducing Zhong Moonye, who thanked Warren again, and Warren revealed a prepared carriage, surprising Jong Sok, assigning Namwook the reins, only for him to complain until Warren waved a golden bottle of wine as incentive, sparking an all-out brawl between the twin rising Ghostblade for control, gasps and shouts echoing. While inside the carriage, Jong Moonye laughed softly, Warren and Jong Sok chuckle, but Bi Young crossed her arms, with frustration on her face. Right after a few moments, inside a cramped carriage, the air is thick with tension as Jong Sok finally snaps, asking Warren about his duel with Goshok. He demands to know if that lethal swordsmanship is a secret clan technique, only to get a verbal beatdown from Anya for his total lack of etiquette. Sok stammers out a pathetic apology, but Warren just sits back with a smug, amused smirk. He knows Sok, a hidden saint cult disciple, already smells the truth. The Tianzhong clan style is a direct descendant of his own cult's forbidden arts. Warren confirms it's a secret passed down from an ancestor, and Sok bows like a total fanboy, thrilled to see the legendary style in the flesh. Seeing the itch for a fight, Warren baits him into a friendly spar after dinner. Calling out Sok for holding back in his last fight, Zhang doesn't hesitate. Desperate to test his full power against a monster like Warren, as the sun vanishes, they hit an open field and lose the pleasantries. It's an absolute explosion of violence. Blades scream against each other like thunder, sending sparks flying as the ground shakes under their boots. Every move is a precise, high-speed dance with death. When they finally disengage, gasping for air, Jung Sok realizes Warren has modified their cult's demonic dragon sword into a refined, soaring dragon version. He's baffled why anyone would weaken the raw demonic power by fusing it with a different cultivation method, while where others wakening watches him like a hawk, already plotting how to steal Zhang's chi techniques for himself. Later, under a starlit sky, Munyai and Seok whisper in the shadows. Jong Sok confirms Hwaren's lineage, but criticizes his diluted power. Munya isn't having it. She reminds him that Hwaren is the reason she isn't a cripple anymore. In a move that defies the heavens, she decides she'll personally teach Hwaren their cult's secret chi cultivation. But with a lethal warning, if he ever reveals his link to the fallen hidden saint cult, he's a dead man. The next day, by a scenic waterfall, Munye corners Hwaren to settle the debt. When Hwaren tries to refuse her technique, she grabs his hand with a desperate grip, making it clear this is the only way she can live with herself. Hwaren freezes, finally surrendering to her resolve. From the tree line, Byung watches the intimate moment with a sharp, unexplained jealousy burning in her chest. But the peace is a lie. As they reach Jong Sok, Hwaren finds a local kid who drops a devastating bombshell. The Sangwon clan has captured the Omniscient One. He's been framed for a murder he didn't commit, and the executioner's blade is scheduled to drop at dawn. Hwaren's eyes turn cold as things are completely out of hand. We then find out about Nan. The world knows him as a quirky fortune teller, but Hwaren knows the lethal truth. Nan is the final envoy of the purged Bay cult, a master of soul-hacking sorcery. Hwaren realizes this relic is the only one capable of exorcising the unwanted hitchhiker living inside his own head. There is just one massive, looming problem. Nan is scheduled for a date with the executioner tomorrow. Byung tries to pitch a fortune reading, but Hwaren's eyes are already locked on a familiar target. He shouts for Yohai, and Jaegel Yohai glides over with a smirk, mocking his sudden appearance. After a quick bow from Byung, Yohai introduces the shy beauty standing beside her, Sangwon Yohus. Hwaren's grin turns predatory. He recognizes that name instantly. As they navigate Jenggu, Yohai reveals she's in town because her friend, Sangwon Mijong, is deathly ill. When she flips the question, Hwaren plays it cryptic, claiming he's here to reclaim something entrusted to the local legend. This leaves Byung spinning, but Yoseil drops the real bombshell. Nan is currently locked in her clan's private estate, awaiting his final sunrise for an unnamed crime. Hwaren loses it. He bellows at the sky, mourning his lost sleep and the brutal journey to Jeongju. Then, the master manipulator pivots. He lunges, grabbing Yoseil's hand with a dramatic, soft-spoken plea that radiates desperate charm. It works. Yoseil turns a deep shade of crimson and stammers that they must see her father immediately. Yohei rolls her eyes at the blatant theatrics, scolding her friend for being such an easy mark. Hwaren barks orders at Byung to tell the party they're detouring to the Sangwon clan, leaving Yohei chuckling at his audacity. At the Sangwon estate, Hwaren surveys the massive compound, already plotting how his own Taeyeonzong clan will eventually dwarf this place. Yohai pulls him aside, smelling a scheme. She knows no man acts this affectionate without a hidden agenda. Predicting the clan patriarch will block him, she offers a spicy shortcut. Pretend to be my lover. Hwaren doesn't blink. He accepts the play. Inside the main hall, Hwaren drops a respectful bow before Patriarch Sangwon Byokin and his wife, Yanggyo. Byokin takes one look at Hwaren, sees his father's hated face, and immediately shuts him down. No Nan, no meeting. Period. Hwaren pivots to the wife, deploying Yohei's script with surgical precision. He claims he's possessed by a violent ghost and could snap at any second if not treated. Panic hits the room. She shreds her husband for letting old grudges endanger them all, demanding Hwaren get his audience. The patriarch folds like a chair, ordering Chief Yu to lead the way. Hwaren descends into the damp, dark prison dungeon, pondering the messy history between their fathers. They reach the cell where Nan sits chained, shivering in the shadows. The moment Nan sees Hwaren, he doesn't see a boy. He sees the monster within. The old man screams, pointing a trembling finger, terrified by the dark entity Hwaren is carrying. Hwaren freezes in front of Nan, barking that a ghost is clinging to his soul and demanding an immediate conversation. Nan scoffs, trying to play the senile old man, but Hwaren shuts him down instantly. He exposes Nan as the secret emissary of the Bay cult, a man who literally speaks the language of the dead. Nan's eyes sharpen. He realizes this isn't just some brat. Something ancient and predatory pulses within Warren, yet the boy remains unflinching and fully aware of Nan's forbidden identity. Silence hangs heavy until Nan offers a lethal trade. He'll help Warren if Warren saves Mijong. Warren hesitates, but Nan lays out the stakes. Mijong's mind shattered into two warring personas while she was mastering the forbidden split-body sword art. The Sangwon clan is hiding her to bury the scandal, but she's fading fast. Nan's plan is insane. Use the powerful soul inside Warren to invade Mijong's mind and purge her dark half. 3 lives are on the line, and the odds are impossible. But Warren just flashes a confident, shark-like grin and agrees. Outside the courtyard, Warren deploys his silver tongue, manipulating the Patriarch into releasing Nan. Patriarch Byoken is seething, warning Warren that if this fails, the Tianzhong clan burns with him. His wife Yanggyo tosses Warren an approving glance, fueling his silent vow to win. The duo storms into Mijong's chamber. Nan slices his palm, letting blood drip into a glowing supernatural ritual circle. He forces Warren to sit at the center, hand on his head, and begins ripping open Warren's upper chi core to unleash the beast within. The room quakes violently. The air fractures as the soul's power surges past all limits, forcing Warren to grit his teeth against the soul-crushing pressure. Suddenly, reality snaps. Warren wakes up in a demonic palace beneath a bleeding crimson moon. On a throne of shadow sits the demonic master, the same entity that possessed and destroyed him in a past life. The demon sneers, mocking Warren for trying to control a god. He laughs at Warren's past weakness, reminiscing about the slaughter of his family and the frail, useless woman who raised him, Manhwa. Warren, fueled by pure spite, drags himself to his feet and orders the demon to shut his mouth. The demonic master lunges, throat-grabbing Warren with an icy, lethal grip. Warren doesn't flinch. He seizes the demon's wrist and vows to kill him where he stands. The demon erupts into a chilling, echoing cackle that shakes the foundations of the realm. He leans in close, promising that, while the time isn't right yet, he'll be watching every move. He taps Warren's shoulder, and the entire dimension shatters like glass. The world dissolves into a void as the demon's voice echoes, revealing he will be watching Warren closely. Warren snaps awake, lungs burning for oxygen inside a ritual circle that smells of death. His first thought? Nan. Behind him, Nan is hacking up Crimson, barely clutching onto life. Admitting he thought Warren's soul was a goner, Warren lunges forward, but Nan barks a command to halt. The nightmare isn't over. They're diving into Mijong's mental abyss. Nan is a walking corpse at this point, but he pushes the stakes. Warren's future is dead on arrival if they fail. Per Mijong's previous intel, Warren palms her forehead. Nan nods, screaming for him to funnel every ounce of energy into her upper core. Suddenly, a geyser of obsidian chi erupts, a violent surge threatening to shred them both. Nan roars for focus. This isn't a soul dive, it's a mind raid. The mission? Find the real Mijong, delete the glitch, and fix the timeline. Warren blinks, and he's standing in a vivid recreation of the Sangwon clan. He sees it all in a flash. Mijong the child, the lonely woman, the companion to Yuseal, and the fractured shell rotting in dark energy. Suddenly, 2 identical Mijongs materialize. The one on the left plays mind games, asking if he can spot the fraud, while the right one doubles down on the confusion. Warren doesn't flinch. He notices the subtle personality shifts beneath the skin. There is no fake. They are just 2 halves of one chaotic whole. He recalls Yoseal's profile. Mijong is a walking contradiction of mischief and detachment, a duality mirrored in her obsession with the split-body sword art. The moment he acknowledges this truth, the left Mijong beams and the entire mental landscape starts to fracture like glass. The 2 halves embrace, admitting there was never a lie, only a mirror. They drop a bombshell. Warren is just like her, existing in the crosshairs of 2 lives, one a tragic wreck, the other a powerhouse of hope. One Mijong angers her energy core to Warren's, a deep brain sync that blends their memories into a single, overwhelming experience. She promises he'll be a ghost in her waking mind before merging back into her twin as the world dissolves. Warren hits reality, eyes snapping open. Nan is already barking, demanding to know if he found the real girl. Warren stays silent, realizing his own identity is just as fragmented and complex as the girl on the mattress. Mijong bolts upright, hacking up a fountain of crimson. Warren and Nan jump like they've seen a ghost, screaming her title in a panicked duet. Mijong locks eyes with Nan, terrified, asking if she's dying, but Nan plays it cool. He explains the blood vomit is just a biological purge, better out than in. Otherwise, she'd be a ticking time bomb. The fit passes, and Mijong squints at Warren through the haze. She recognizes the face, but the how and why are total blanks. Warren drops the formal intro Huaren of the Tianzhong clan and checks her vitals. She claims she feels superhuman, but her gratitude comes with an edge. She demands to know why a total stranger would risk his neck for her and what the bill looks like. Warren keeps his cards close, pivoting to the fact that her parents are probably losing their minds outside. On cue, the waterworks start. Mi-jung staggers toward the door, gasping, "Father, Mother," before pausing at the threshold. She throws a final, sharp look over her shoulder, tagging Huaren as an omniscient one, with a whispered thanks before diving into her parents' embrace. Nan exhales a lungful of relief, praising Huaren for surviving a soul sink without turning into a vegetable. He offers a hand and Huaren meets it with a rock-solid fist bump. The job's done, but Huaren's ready to collect his fee. Nan agrees but needs 48 hours to build a containment field for the volatile soul power. As Huaren turns to leave, Nan drops a massive awkward bomb. Soul melding between guys and girls creates a temporary intimacy. Before Huaren can even process that, Nan vanishes. Later that night, Huaren is deep in meditation when a jump scare of the demonic master snaps him awake. He starts connecting the dots with manic energy, scribbling names like San Juan, Soul Origin, and Immortal Paradise. He realizes they're all using the same lineage of mind-splitting martial arts to juggle clashing energies. The plan is set. Use Nan to cage the demonic master, then use Cho Woo-hee's golden ticket to heist the left-right split mind art. Outside, Yoseol watches him pace under the moon while Yohei cracks jokes about Huaren thinking of marriage. Oblivious, Chon starts swinging his blade, realizing he can now tap into 30 years of raw cultivation, but his body is screaming under the strain. He sheds his shirt to cool down, sighing at the chaos of his life, only for Mahjong to materialize out of the shadows. She starts admiring the view and teasing his muscular physique. Huaren gets flustered and cozy, getting way too close to Mi-jong with a light touch. It screams, "I want more of you." She tries to speak, but Mi-jong cuts her off, dropping a heavy hint about tomorrow's chaotic visit to the Sangwon clan. Huaren asks if this intimacy is her reward for playing hero, but Mi-jong just laughs it off, claiming her life isn't some cheap bargain bin item. She vows to repay the debt tenfold, drops a formal bow, and tells him to stay alive. Before vanishing into the shadows like a ninja, she doubles down on his bravery, ignoring his personal motives and crowning him the flying dragon sword hero. Huaren is left alone under the moon, overthinking every word until sunrise. Next day, Huaren hits the bridge to meet Nan, who's busy acting shocked that Huaren survived a run-in with a senile old man. Nan drops a truth bomb. Huaren's been hit by the Maoan sex spirit possession and nasty soul-transferring glitch that nukes the original host. Huaren claims he's Duchi, but Nan mourns the corruption is already eating him alive from the inside out. There's a fix, but it's a suicide mission with 0 survival odds. When Huaren asks about the price of failure, Nan jokes that it's nothing compared to simping for strangers and promises a secret trick. Suddenly, Yohei teleports in, grabs Huaren, and demands he play the fake boyfriend role until the guests clear out. Huaren submits to the drag-along as Nan promises a signal once the ritual is ready. They end up at a high-tier inn where the luxury makes Huaren's merchant union quarters look like a shed. A massive carriage convoy rolls up, and Huaren clocks the disrespect in his low-tier security detail. He spots Peng Joke, the legendary Blade Tiger Dragon, and immediately senses the lethal 5-Tiger Severing Blade energy. The heavy hitters Seosol, Chihorion, Soyeon Jiok, and Joyeon Strolion Jeok and Joyoung stroll in, burning holes through the fake couple. Joyoung tries to play nice, introducing Huaren as Mi-jong's savior and heir to the Tianzhong clan. Seosol cracks up while mocking Huaren's status and dragging the Tianzhong reputation through the mud. The moment Joyoung vanishes, Yohei erupts, lashing Seosol for disrespecting Huaren's clan. Huaren plays it cool, dropping a respectful bow and mentions his clan inactivity as the main reason of his clan's low profile, rather than her stupidity or ignorance. Chorian finds the composure hilarious, but Seosol just keeps snarling. Enters Yuan, the brother who tries to pivot the tension into a sit-down social for the gathered prodigies. Once the tea is poured, Cholrion identifies herself, admiring Huaren's sharp tongue and implying his blade is likely just as lethal. Huaren clocks her instantly. She is the legendary sister driving the Cholrion clan's golden era. Seosol immediately pivots to drama, interrogating Huaren about his suspicious proximity to Yohei. Joke Gazgaze sharpens as Yohei explains they have recently bonded despite years of distance. Yon smells blood, bringing up Huaren's former engagement to Chang'on to stir the pot. Jacques slams the table, accusing Yoan of dragging Yohei's reputation through the mud. Yoan offers a fake-ish apology, claiming he's just worried about the optics since both women are from the same clan. Warren watches the chaos, realizing Jiok is clearly simping for Yohai and sensing another layer to the scheme. Yohai then drops the bomb. She helped Warren sever the engagement, making their current closeness perfectly legal. Warren literally spits out his drink in shock while Jiko frozen in disbelief. Yuan snares, calling the breakup a logical move for a failing clan. Warren knows it's a taunt. Since he knows about the pathetic past of Yuan, he decides to fire back, reminding Yuan that his own engagement failed because he's a habitual cheater with an inferiority complex. Yuan sees red. He accuses Warren of slandering the name of his clan, but Warren points out that Yuan started the fire. Exhausted by the talk, Yuan demands a physical demonstration, challenging the Flying Dragon sword hero to prove his hype. At the arena, Yohei realizes her plan to bait Joke backfired because Yuan was too easy to trigger, which makes him an idiot, but she thinks this is also an opportunity for Warren to show his prowess. Xiorion asks Drock for his prediction of the duel, and he bets on a draw, weighing the advantages of both the candidates and Warren's recent win over Jiakwang. Yuan tells Warren not to get so full of himself after defeating a nobody called Jiakwang. He claims his attacks to be the fastest and charges like a bull, thinking Warren's closed eyes are an opening. Big mistake. Warren snaps his eyes open, parries the strike, and unleashes a fighting dragon fist that sends Yuan to a structural wall. Seo Sol screams for her unconscious brother as Cholrion stands there, stunned by the one-hit KO. Suddenly, the vibe shifts. Jock steps forward, bows with actual respect, and identifies himself as the Hai Yang clan's pride. He's seen enough to be impressed and now demands his turn against the Tainyang heir. Warren lingers in silence until Jock breaks the tension with a smirk, revealing he had been training since he could walk. Even with that elite pedigree, Jock admits he could only barely track the Simoon sword style. Yet Warren dismantled it with zero effort. Recognizing the disrespect of challenging a man who just finished a fight, Joke still begs for a shot at Warren's steel. Warren reads him instantly, sensing a pure heart and a raw obsession with martial arts, the exact traits of a future legend. With a faint smile, Warren accepts, eager to witness the Peng clan's lethal edge firsthand. The training grounds instantly swarm with spectators buzzing over this high-stakes rematch, stung that Warren is jumping from a duel with the light vestige blade straight into a clash with Yoka. The crowd roars as the fight goes live. Joke draws his steel and announces the five-tiger severing blade, a technique his clan has been perfecting in secret. Warren unsheathes the soaring dragon emperor, sword of the Tianzhong clan, matching the energy before locking into his stance. Jock swings with a massive surge of chi, the blade resonance roaring like a literal lion. Warren feels the ferocity, braces and charges, meeting the strike in a violent collision that sends shockwaves of chi to the courtyard. Warren realizes that without the Zhang siblings' heart method, that first hit might have ended him. Pushing through, he forces Jock's blade upward, earning a surprised, appreciative smirk from the challenger. Watching from the sidelines, Cholrion marvels at the dragon versus tiger spectacle. She tries to bait Yon into a fight of their own, but he shuts it down immediately. Back in the fray, Yak launches another heavy assault, but Warren stonewalls him. They break apart, and Jock sheathes his sword with a satisfied grin, calling the duel perfect. They exchange bows of mutual respect. Jock gets hyped, grabbing Warren's shoulder to grill him on the speed and aura of his technique. Warren realizes the five-tiger style is actually an incomplete, dangerous fusion of Ping clan power and demonic arts, but he keeps it low-key, suggesting a private talk. Yuka, floored by Warren's insight, offers an open invitation for more training. As they exit, Yohai notes Warren's terrifying growth rate, hinting at drafted plans to pull him into the Union Idaka move Warren recognizes as a classic Jagao clan power play. She vanishes for business, leaving Warren to pivot to his next objective. He meets Nan inside a complex ritual circle. Nan warns that there is no turning back from this. Warren stays calm, downs a thick red liquid to prep his body, and lets Nan place a hand on his head to breach his consciousness and find the elusive soul. The spell ignites. Warren wakes up in a foggy ancient forest, staring at a wrecked carriage bearing the Sky Ocean Merchant Union crest. Unexpectedly, the demonic master emerges, mocking him as the hog of the Sky Ocean. Jamyong sneers as he scrutinizes the new Haran, noting the massive weight loss and the masculine transformation that's turned the former softy into a hardened warrior. But the mockery doesn't stop there. Jamyong labels him a fraud, a merchant merely playing dress-up as a martial artist to chase worthless fame. Warren finally breaks his silence, telling Jamyong he talks too much before questioning if the old man truly believes he's still the legendary demon master. Surprised that Warren knows his secret identity, Jamyong is met with cold logic. Warren is a top-tier merchant, and sniffing out a rat like him isn't difficult. Warren mocks the memory of the so-called master fleeing from assassins like a coward in their past life, calling Jamayun a pathetic parasite unable to move an inch within his host. Jam Young takes the hit with a boss-level smirk, firing back that it wasn't raw talent that transformed Warren's fat ass into a fighter. He demands Warren stop flying so high, taking full credit for the man's lightning-fast progress, and reminding him that his martial arts mastery only exists because of Jam Young's presence. He recalls Warren burning through chi just to survive and then drops a tactical nuke. He knows Warren's plan to destroy his soul and hijack his energy. In this world, chi and the soul are fused, and Jam Young demands total control over the body. Warren counters that while merchants never get something for nothing, he isn't a merchant anymore. Drawing his blade as the true heir of the Tianzhong clan, he orders Jam Young to arm himself and challenges his arrogant ass to a duel. Flashback to Nan explaining the realm of consciousness, a rare mental sanctuary forged from pure emotion that's impossible for outsiders to grasp. Nan had handed Warren a potion, a secret weapon to grant him invincibility within the confines of his own mind. Back in the psychic arena, Jam Young spots the symbol on Warren's forehead and realizes the kid came prepared. He launches a terrifying world-ending strike, but Warren stands his ground, knowing this space stores every ounce of his dormant potential. With a single, effortless move, Warren dismantles the attack, leaving the old bastard speechless. His soaring dragon and Taji heaven skills have merged, unveiling a god-tier potential that makes Jam Young lose his mind. Screaming at Warren to stop acting cocky, Jam Young unleashes an overwhelming assault like the kid owes him money, daring him to block the next strike. Warren settles into a stance, channeling his power and imagining a lone fish swimming against a gargantuan wave of chi to reach the dragon's gate. He embraces his destiny, prepared to wield the absolute power of the single dragon. Jam Young stands paralyzed amidst the smoldering wreckage of a ruined battlefield, his trembling hand betraying the dangerous drain on his inner chi. He knows another ounce of exhaustion means certain death, yet his cautious resolve evaporates as a radiant golden light shatters the dust. Warren erupts from the haze, his blade summoning a colossal golden dragon of pure energy that coils through the sky with terrifying dominance. As the beast descends, the crushing pressure triggers a violent flashback. Jam Young sees his younger self, bloodied and broken but still clutching a sword. Then remembers standing atop a moonlit rooftop as assassins closed in from every shadow. Reality slams back as the dragon nears. Jam Young explodes in a manic rage, screaming at Warren for daring to corner a legend. He boasts of a ruthless life spent slaughtering anyone in his path, surviving the impossible to earn his title as a demonic master. He refuses to let a mere merchant end his reign. Charging forward, his blade glows with a dark red chi, clashing head-on with a golden dragon in a blinding, earth-shaking collision. Despite his legendary experience, Jam Young is utterly overwhelmed. Warren cleaves through the crimson energy and delivers a crushing slash that forces the master to buckle under sheer physical power. When a glowing, intricate symbol ignites on Warren's forehead, Jam Young desperately unleashes his momentum strike, shouting that their shared fate ends now. Suddenly, a massive symbol of Taji manifests behind Warren and horror strikes Jam Young as he recognizes the Taji depth heaven tone. He realizes Warren's terrifying growth stems from a connection to the upper Dantian, the realm of limitless human potential. The fight devolved into a brutal, visceral war of attrition. Warren and Jam Young trade savage punches, fueled by raw hatred and pure killing intent. Jam Young finally falls to his knees, reflecting that even the strongest will must eventually break under such extreme violence. Yet, Warren rises yet again. Bewildered, Jam Young asks why, wondering if it is rage or obsession that fuels this ghost. Warren calmly denies it all, seeing visions of his family, Yonhwa, and his loyal followers. He declares it is the future that makes him stand. Jam Young questions the concept of the future, ridiculing the absurdity of his situation as his eye shifts from red to a sharp blue. He explains the logic of only changing what is within one's control, framing it as a rational, pragmatic choice. Sitting casually, the spirit mocks Warren as a merchant at heart and curses him, but Warren responds coldly, calling the spirit young and spitting aside in contempt. Unfazed, the spirit clenches his fist and proposes an offer. As Warren demands clarity, the spirit deduces Warren wants his inner energy and suggests a temporary arrangement where he stays inside Warren's body to assist him on the condition that Warren later finds him a new body. The spirit promises 1/3 of his energy upon departure, but Warren bluntly refuses. Enraged, the spirit rants about yielding first, only for Warren to counter with a calm smile and demand half the energy instead. After furious resistance, the spirit agrees, calling Warren vicious, and adds further conditions. The new body must be young, strong-boned, and mentally broken to ensure domination. Warren agrees indifferently, stating he will only awaken the spirit if he finds such trash. The spirit mocks the negotiation as Warren leaves, and Warren's form dissolves into golden light. Alone, the spirit calculates the loss as 180 years of energy but grins, revealing that the more Warren uses the power, the stronger the spirit grows. The narrative snaps back to reality where Horan sits cross-legged in agony, trembling and drenched in sweat, overwhelmed by loss and suspecting realm dissonance. He vows to return, but Nan rushes in, followed by a concerned Mijiang. Warren admits he made a deal with a powerful soul. Nan explains methods to weaken such a spirit either by splitting it or sealing it in another Dantian. Though initially confused, Warren recalls future knowledge of Shouruang using 2 Dantians through the Taiji Depth Heaven Tome, realizing this is his path toward becoming an unrivaled martial master. Before he can reflect further, Yohei bursts in, carrying an injured martial artist whose clothes are torn and bloodied. She urgently warns that Bayek and Warren's group are in grave danger after a demonic sect attacked an inn, resulting in a brutal battle and the massacre of civilians. The wounded man explains he barely escaped and that Warren's people were caught trying to help, fueling Warren's suppressed rage. Despite Yohei's desperate warnings of an ambush, Warren steels himself and prepares to head to his group. Joke steps forward, insisting on joining him, citing his familiarity with the Jagal and his duty as a rising star of the Orthodox sect, and others reluctantly follow. Warren expresses heartfelt gratitude to everyone for their aid. Then Nan rushes forward and throws a potion at him, explaining it will help. Warren grips it tightly and hurries off, hoping his subordinates can hold on a little longer. The scene shifts to his subordinates, battered and covered in blood, encircled by enemies and desperately fighting for survival. In his past life, Warren was a complete footnote. Frail, weak-minded, and pathetic, he stayed miles away from Byung and his clan's legendary martial arts, but fate had a cruel sense of humor. Just as he was being sold off to the Sky Ocean Merchant Union as some living son-in-law, his world detonated. He witnessed the horrific massacre of the Tianzhong clan, watching his family get slaughtered or displaced into the winds. Enter Byung, a total badass who stepped up when the men fell. She hunted every last enemy, earning the terrifying title of Dragon Blood Flower through a trail of corpses. She shed tears of blood until her devastating end, dying alongside the heavy hitters Jang Wook and Niamwa. Back in the present, Warren is tearing through the woods, paralyzed by the fear that history is repeating. Jock tells him to shut up and trust his subordinates because they're his for a reason. Warren stays silent, but Joyeon drops a massive bomb. The 3 demonic heavens have arrived. Immediately, Warren connects the dots. The Demon Castle, Heaven Cult, and Darkness Valley are all in play. He realizes the demonic sects are systematically hunting the Jagal clan to shatter the union of martial clans. In his previous timeline, these monsters succeeded, and that realization sends Warren into a desperate, high-speed sprint. Meanwhile, at the inn, Byung is a whirlwind of steel, surviving only because of Jagal clan enchantments. As reinforcements are promised, she wonders how she can protect a mountain of wounded men with the enchantments rapidly failing. The Jagal warriors beg her to keep Byuk safe if they fall. Suddenly, a creepy, heavy silence drops like a shroud. Jong orders everyone into position, and then a voice booms through the trees, telling them to hold on. It's Warren. He hits a wall of enemies and draws his blade instantly. Jock and Yuan start clearing the trash, telling Warren to move forward and never look back. He thanks them and activates Flying Dragon, cutting through the air like a lightning bolt. Mid-air, a massive, ugly pig tries to stop him, but Warren deletes him with one strike and keeps pushing. He spots the inn from the clouds, and Byung sees him hovering above the forest like a god. On a nearby cliff, a pathetic old man and his toxic companion realize their ambush has been crashed by different clans. They identify Warren as Byuk and Jum. Identify Warren as Byuk's guardian from the inn, but the old pig doesn't care. This is the Blood Demon himself, and he orders the Blood Dragon Corps to move out, laughing like a maniac at the incoming bloodbath. On the other hand, Warren crashes into the inn like a force of nature, and his companions fall silent, completely shaken by the sight of him standing there alone. Mo Byung sprints toward him in panic, furious that he would gamble his life like that, but the moment she reaches him, he pulls her into a fierce hug, wordlessly relieved she survived. Byung steadies herself, and Namwook immediately warns Warren that no one can handle enemies like this alone because the danger is overwhelming. Warren only smiles, calmly making it clear he never claimed he would fight alone. Right then, Yoke and multiple martial artists surge out from the forest shadows and line up beside Warren. The atmosphere instantly darkens when Warren feels a crushing wave of killing intent appear out of nowhere, violent and suffocating. He turns sharply and realizes it is pouring down from the top of the hill behind him. As his mind races, the truth hits him hard that he has stepped straight into a lethal ambush. He quickly pieces together that the Jagal clan was used as bait to lure the Songwon and Ping clans, allowing the enemy to shut down 3 union formations at once. He realizes the inn was never meant to be refuge, but a burial ground prepared for 4 clans. Warren immediately activates the frequency technique, connecting everyone and instructing them to silently look toward the hill and feel the enemy's presence without speaking. As everyone senses the hostile aura above, the enemies realize their concealment has failed. The enemy prepares to strike, but their commander, the vile Joe, halts them, choosing to observe Warren and the others first. She wants to watch her prey panic and rise before dying. One subordinate suggests slaughtering them all instantly, but Joe dismisses him, saying she wants to savor her time in Jianghu. She declares he is unworthy of leading the Blood Demon Corps, while he curses her as a disgusting woman in his mind, burning with frustration. It becomes clear Joe wants Warren and the others to struggle before she kills them purely for her amusement. The focus snaps back to Warren as he orders everyone into formation, stating that although the Jagal clan formation is solid, the enemy already understands it completely, making it useless. One injured man agrees, saying the enemy intends to annihilate them all in one strike. Warren commands them to form a perimeter around the inn walls and plant bamboo at specific points. Jacques warns the enemy will not fall easily and asks what formation Warren intends to use. Warren answers that it is the poison formation, also known as the bamboo soul-shattering formation, a technique passed down through families and once used to revive the Sky Ocean Escort Agency. His confidence is unshaken. Joke asks where the poison will come from, and Warren points straight at Yon. Shock erupts as Yuan explodes in rage, denying the accusation, but under the suspicious stares of his siblings, he hands over the poison, insisting it was only for research. Warren snatches it immediately, thanks him for his contribution, and orders everyone to move into formation at once. At the same time, Joe notices something off and abandons her patience, commanding her forces to advance and mercilessly slaughter every enemy inside the inn. The scene snaps back to the clan where Yohei is drowning in regret, cursing her own weak martial arts because she wanted to stand beside her friends instead of being useless. She forces herself to regain focus when a messenger suddenly comes sprinting toward her. He hands her a letter marked urgent, and the moment she reads it, her eyes blow wide as shock twists into pure rage. Yohei charges straight to the injured martial artist, yanks him up by the collar, and demands to know who attacked the inn. The man reveals it was one of the 3 demons from the Blood Castle, and Yohei explodes, screaming why he waited until now to say it. The next second, she is already running outside, berating herself for failing to connect the dots when she had already been warned about demonic presence in the area. She realizes her brother was used as bait and sprints forward, praying he is still alive. Back at the inn, Warren orders everyone into position while Byung quietly wonders why everyone suddenly trusts his leadership without hesitation. Warren commands Byung and Zhang to immediately support anyone on the verge of collapsing and follow orders without delay. Moments later, with everyone set, Warren warns that the enemy is approaching. Hundreds of enemies burst from the forest, and Warren asks Jock if he remembers their discussion. Earlier, Warren had drawn the formation on the ground, explaining that the terrain limits the enemy to a single attack direction. He planned for the Peng and Sangguan clans to form the flanks, Tianzhong and Somun to dominate the center, and Jagal to hold the rear. Once the enemy pushed in, Jagal would activate the first formation, the center would crush them, and the flanks would encircle from behind. Warren notes with grim satisfaction that the strategies he studied in his past life finally have purpose. Back in the present, Warren roars for the Jagal clan to activate the first formation as enemies crash into range. The Jagal martial artists obey instantly and the battle erupts. The Demon Corps begins struggling immediately, forcing their leader to curse Joe for her laziness before drawing his sword and charging in himself. Joe mocks him as an unfit leader and smiles coldly, realizing this fool was chosen as a disposable sacrifice. Steel clashes, violently blood sprays, bodies collapse, and the battlefield descends into chaos. Amid the slaughter, Warren watches patiently, waiting for the exact moment, hoping his men can hold just long enough for the enemy to push deeper. Then he gives the signal. Joke and Joyong explode out from behind the Demon Corps leader, strike him down and retreat instantly as the enemy bleeds. Warren launches forward like lightning to finish the kill, but at the final moment his blade is blocked by something unnatural. Joe has entered the battlefield without warning, taunting Warren for being the only one with a functioning brain. Warren is stunned because he never sensed her presence, realizing her stealth and power are terrifying. Joe locks eyes with him and coldly asks if this is truly the best he has to offer.